Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. I guess since most of us are in the room, or half of us are in the room, we can probably just go around the room and say who's here. So I guess we can start with Aaron. And you just say a role too.
Yeah, Aaron Vaughn's here.
You can say your role. Yeah, secretary.
Oh, secretary, Aaron Vaughn.
Jason Danielson, Tech Committee Chair.
Jeff Hedstrom, President.
Phoebe Ferguson, Conference Liaison.
Nate Cole, Treasurer.
Mike Powell, VP, Vice President.
And if any other board members are online, feel free to chime in as well.
Eric Spangenberg, MLIAC rep to Magip board. It's like hey, Jenny's muted.
And I'm sorry, this is Jeff Young. I just came in as an observer. I'm obviously not on the board, but a new member of the MAGIP and plan on attending the Sky Conference, Big Sky Conference. And thought I'd just spend a few minutes and be an observer. So thank you for that. Unless you consider it inappropriate, I can drop off.
No, that's what we have open meetings for. So thank you for joining us and welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Jeffrey.
Yeah, and I'm out of Denver, so new faces and names here for me. So I'm really looking forward to the Missoula meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. Hey, Jeff, if you don't mind my asking, what's your background?
Well, I'm a geographer by training.
Oh, okay.
And have been rather active in ASPRS Rocky Mountain region for a number of years. I currently work for a company called One Spatial, and we have been pursuing some business in Montana. So I'm on the commercial side, but have a general intellectual interest in grassroots geospatial activities, particularly in the West. So I look forward to be a listener.
Excellent.
Hopefully that helps, gives you a little sense of background.
Yeah,
And
well, welcome.
I've been to Montana many times over the years, and it's just you guys live in a majestic place.
Yeah, and Rob, you're on the call, right? Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay. I wasn't sure, is Steven or Michael Kruger on the call? Yeah, not seeing any. Let's go into minutes approval. Does anyone have any questions about it? Aaron just put this up yesterday, so I'm not sure if anyone got a chance to look at it.
A little bit late, yeah. They're up on the Magip site right now. Anybody wants to skim them over. I had Jeff go over them, kind of proof them. But,
If no one has any objections to those or any additions, take a motion to approve. I'll motion to approve them. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Unanimously. Okay, let's go into some new board business. This was kind of something we talked about at the strategic planning event, the communications specialist and liaison position that I'm kind of calling it. Kind of what's the goal and the purpose. I think we've kind of discussed this a little bit, and then also the future. Rob actually gave it a good idea last month, is maybe making it a board position in the future. This obviously wouldn't go into effect for the upcoming year, but it's something we could look at revising the bylaws in the following year. So
aren't we changing the bylaws already?
Yeah.
To do this?
I mean, it's something we could potentially explore for this upcoming year if you all think we're ready. I think we still kind of have to put a job description together. I mean, we'd have to work some of this up pretty quickly. You know, obviously, if we're making it a board position, obviously it's roles and all that. But I guess what's the rest of you guys think about making it a board position?
Would be an additional,
Additional board position,
Okay.
yeah. So it'd be kind of like a communications liaison, position to the board.
Wonder if we should just provide a quick overview for everyone on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess for those that are not on the call, the communications specialist we talked about at our strategic planning event, it would kind of serve to the board. Well, at the time, we were thinking it would be more of an ad hoc, committee chair position. And so this person would communicate to the board, and obviously would be kind of the public, the PIO to the Magip, community. And I know there's a few of you that, I think it was kind of, it was Michelle's idea. I don't know if you want to talk about it, Michelle, what you've seen with some of your organizations, but I think it is one thing that Magip is kind of missing, is kind of this voice, or this one voice, with one message.
Yeah, it is something we talked about that we do see in some of the other groups we work with. And I don't know that I've ever seen it as an actual board position. And it's, somebody that manages the social media, the newsletter, webpage stuff. Just kind of one person that handles all that media and communications side of things, so that everything's being done through one channel, I guess, just to streamline processes. So that's just kind of where the conversation came from.
And, my thought on why it might be a useful board position is because that's where so much of the discussion takes place about the organization. And so to be involved right at that level, you would have the information to communicate. So I was just thinking of that in terms of, skipping one level of interaction. And also,
I kind of,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
That's it. The other thing I just wanted to say is I wonder if maybe instead of creating an additional position, if there's a current position that may fit that role better than what's going on at the moment.
And right now, Megan does webpage stuff, right? And then Jason or Jeff, you do some of the social media stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I think one thing you all talked about doing was maybe producing a newsletter or some kind of a communication tool. And I can certainly help with that. So maybe the liaison board position is somebody who then is just kind of corralling all of that, right? Like, is that what you're talking about, Rob? Like, we still have these individual board members who can do some of these things. And then maybe you pull me in to help with distribution of the newsletter, but we still have that one kind of communications liaison board position that would then kind of oversee it all and report back to the board. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah. That's very much like that. And then, I was thinking too, we are expressing ourselves in a number of different media these days. And so somebody who can stay on top of all of that, I think would be, would serve us well. So it's not just our web page, but, we have all the social media outlets and things of that nature. So it's a lot for the multiple individuals to do.
I can see the secretary taking part of that role, if,
Yeah, the secretary does kind of has a lot to do currently, though.
the minutes do take a bit of
Yeah.
time. But I mean, if it's basically, if all this information is disparate information from Webb, from you, and from Michelle are basically collated into one, that secretary could just simply be the source of that dissemination or something like that. Or that would take effect.
Yeah.
Or what about like member development or something of that nature?
I don't know if it really fits into there either.
I mean, I think was the role also to kind of be that that mechanism for understanding our organization and maybe attending some other, conferences and trying to get trying to promote Magip a little more.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
That's kind of why I'm thinking it's a separate board position, just because there's, I mean, that's a lot under one of us to take on. And we wouldn't want to really spread it out, because then that would kind of disprove the point of having one voice, one communication specialist liaison. So
Mhm.
I think it's something to kick around. We don't have to necessarily do it for this year. I think it would be kind of rushing it. I think talk about it more this summer, obviously this spring at our conference, see what our members think.
Well, I think too, Jeff, it's a good, you're making some good points here. And what I'm thinking is, we just jumped right into it, trying to decide which position it would be and that kind of thing. But I think maybe we need to spend a little bit more time defining exactly the role, the roles and the responsibilities of that position. And what I just heard was really exciting too, in the sense of, not just rehashing what we've talked about at meetings, but also, being the face of the organization and being out there and representing us in places where we're not currently.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because that could open up more opportunities to, for us to be present at the Marls conference, the MAP conference with the planners, some of these other organizations that we've wanted to partner with. But I think it also kind of comes down to, how do we do that? Or I guess,
Mhm.
we do kind of come up against time restrictions.
At least be that liaison, right? Like that gives Magip a heads up, saying, hey, here are these conferences that are coming up, or here are these, I guess here are these conferences or meetings that maybe we should be aware of, and maybe we can have somebody, not necessarily this person, but somebody, that represents Magip, to attend some of these. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that kind of rolls into when you guys were talking about maybe developing some of those strategic partnerships or collaborations with some of these other organizations or associations. That's one of the things you can do then is see if you can get that reciprocal registration. Like if there is a conference, you can send a person from Magip to their conference, and then they could maybe send a person to your conference or do a booth or whatever, and you can get some of that that collaboration going that way too, without having to pay, like take money out of the budget.
Mhm.
I just posted a couple things in the chat. I don't know if anybody saw them. First of all, would this be a new elected position or a committee position? And if you're talking about sending people to other conferences and things, would Magip want to afford sending them, even if you trade the membership or the registration fees? There might be some expense there in getting them there.
Yeah, that's all things to consider there, Jenny. So thanks for chiming in there. I think kind of like what Michelle was saying, I think especially with some of these, we've always been wanting to partner with anyway. So it's just a matter of maybe offering booth space at our conference in exchange for, attendance at their conference or booth, So, yeah, and I think it would be an elected position. I think our committees, I don't know if we could really form an ad hoc committee with it and expect a volunteer to run it. That's where I think, having the board tie with it, they have direct interaction with us and not kind of have it secondhand, and kind of like what Rob was saying too, with that point, so.
It'd be interesting to see what interest there is from people, because I feel like it would be a good starting point for people to get involved.
Yeah, exactly.
It would, I could see it being, the person, this is a unicorn that we're looking for, really. right? Because we need them, we need them to have really good communication skills, ability to interact with multiple social media platforms, and then also have intimate knowledge of our organization. And so, they either have to have all those skills and background, or for the background part, we would have to be really organized and feed them the information we want them to communicate. So, I think there's focusing on some of the details that we'd like to emerge from this probably is going to be necessary and probably a little bit challenging for us.
Rob, I don't know that it's so much of a unicorn as what you might think. There are PIOs on all the fire teams. That go out with the fires, and they are, they are pretty closely tied to the incident commander as far as what they put out to the public and things like that. But my one other thought on this is I would leave it as a communication specialist and strongly think about calling it a liaison position when you've already got like the liaison, or what you were calling the liaison position with the MLIAC, and kind of consider what ramifications that might have.
I like leaving it in the communication specialist realm, and I wasn't implying that those people aren't out there, but they are a special breed.
They are a special breed. I would agree with that.
Are paid too. The monetary incentive.
Yeah, that's always the challenge of, being on a board where, most of our work is voluntary. And obviously most of us have the support with our organizations that we work for, but, there is kind of a fine line between, you kind of do walk that fine line of, getting paid versus, kind of like what Jenny was talking about with these fire teams versus being on a board, so.
I think that's a little different though, with that PIO.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That PIO versus what we would be looking for, but.
Yep.
Well, that's why Diane Papineau was that ideal choice, but she just was at a point where she said I need to be compensated for the time.
Yeah, and I think that's an option, but I just don't know, like, if it fits within our budget currently to, like, offer a stipend. And then you kind of get down the road of, like, okay, why isn't the rest of these board positions, why don't they have a stipend? So,
Right.
yeah, I don't know if that can of worms really should be open, so. I think we can move on. Michael's not really here, so I guess we can sort of talk about the elections timeline. Jenny's on the call, maybe we can rely on her. So I think, kind of, I was gonna just copy Jenny's timeline and kind of revise it, but was running out of time this morning. But I think we probably should just shoot for the same sort of timeline as last year, is kind of go up against, I think have elections in May, closing them, and then having them essentially ratified at our first meeting in June. So I think that all works, doesn't it, everybody?
That's not how it used to be?
Well, so I think it was several years ago, we used to have like the election period open prior to the conference. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's it going? I'm late.
No worries. And so I do remember this, and it's a good platform to do it, but we'd have like the candidates stand up on a stage.
Oh, I remember that,
Yeah.
Yep.
But we don't do that anymore. We kind of use the conference as kind of our recruiting platform.
Sure.
And then we kind of announce the nomination period and then go into voting.
Okay.
So all that's kind of shifted downstream a little bit. So it is a little tight, but, I think we only open it for 7 days anyway, or maybe it's 2 weeks, but. Is it 2 weeks there, Jenny? I think it's just 1 week, isn't it?
It-
Election's
it was
open?
It was a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was May
Maybe-
30th to May 17th, yeah.
Yep.
It
And so obviously
used to
during this
be before
period,
the last bylaws rewrite, it was more like they were starting to recruit now. And you had like a month to vote, and it was by mail, and there was, so that we just, it doesn't need to be that long anymore. And I think with doing that, a lot of people forgot about it. So we just, yeah, used the conference to kind of promote it a little bit and get people interested, and then did the election right after, and kind of worked around since that's kind of the annual meeting, kind of worked around that scheduling to get the people, and then figuring to get the people in place by June 1, so that their first board meeting is officially like July. At the beginning of
Yeah,
the
so I
fiscal
guess-
year.
and so I guess with the bylaw amendment, that doesn't change anything either, does it, Jenny? I think it's just the same timeline, and it's just a matter of getting it out there and make sure people know what we're amending within the bylaws.
Yes, a bylaw amendment would be the same as positions.
Okay. Okay. Nope. Do I have anything else on that? Does anyone else have anything else to add to that? How are the roads there, Steve?
Not bad until, like, Townsend area.
Sounds exactly what I said.
And then I got snow plow for a good few miles.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys don't have any snow in Bozeman, Livingston area?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, wow.
It was like
Nice
40
and clear.
degrees
Yeah, it was
at
nice
night.
and clear, yeah.
Beautiful day in Livingston.
My goodness. Okay.
Hey, chat.
Huh?
Did you already see that chat?
Not see that one.
I think that was Jenny putting something out there.
Oh, it was Jeff, it was just a little note from Jeffrey. Hopefully they sponsor, I'm sure they will. Okay, so, do you wanna touch on this there, Nate?
Yeah. So this, document that Jeff has up on the screen, is just from the discussion that came out of November's meeting, where we approved to add, the president, vice president, and past president as viewers to the Magip, Wells Fargo account, and then add the administrator as a co-signer. So this document just goes over the roles and kind of the approval they need to go through, write any checks or pay for anything. And so,
Yeah, and the process being, majority by the executive.
correct, yeah. And then I guess the reason for putting the administrator on the account would be if the treasurer was ever absent or in between treasurers, the administrator would be able to pay for anything board needed paid for.
Yeah, or if the treasurer were to resign or something like that too, so we're
Yeah.
kind of left without our treasurer for a brief moment, so.
And the administrator is Michelle?
Michelle,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think this is a good policy, and I'm actually surprised Magip didn't have this, in the past. It's kind of a check for all this, and, I mean, I guess we really didn't have a paid administrator up until, well, Lee kind of was, but she wasn't really she wasn't really tied to our financials as much.
We had
So I don't-
actually
I mean-
decided not, when we were hiring Michelle, we had decided not to do that. Jerry Don Miller was still on the board, and he was wanting to keep grip on that. So we had actually decided to make that a lower cost to not do that.
Interesting, yeah, I mean, I guess adding the extra, where the administrator would need majority approval by the executives, I think it kind of does make it, I mean, I understand probably why the previous board did this, but, obviously, we kind of ran up against this at the strategic planning event, where we were kind of juggling between the two periods of Jeremy and then bringing Nate on board. And I think COVID's only exaggerated that. The process of getting a new signee on the account was, I mean, it was just unbelievable. So I think this process was probably only brought about because of COVID, but I think it's a good policy going forward. So we can certainly vote on this now if you guys want, or if we want to think about it for the next month.
Did you put it out there?
Oh, a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
So we can wait until next time, wait for people to review it
Yeah.
and approve that.
Yeah, I think
Or
I
we
forgot
can
to
do it
put the
now.
link out, so yeah, we probably should wait another.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Does anyone else have any opinions on this? I mean, I think it's a hot topic of, just depends on what your angle of our finances are, so.
I think it's a good idea. I was just giving you a little history on why we did it the way we did.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, and thanks for chiming in there, Jenny. It's always good to have that history, back understanding, so.
Do you think that the president, vice president, or past president, I see that they would be account viewers. Do you think one or all of them would be co-signers?
I would say no, just because, I mean, I guess it just depends, because like, obviously that's kind of a term limit, so I don't know if you'd want to just be visiting that at the vice president, every time, and then you always have to go through this period of, well, what if that position is vacated, so. That's a good point there, Rob. I just think our administrator is probably just a little bit more of a stable position. It's more of a, one person essentially have for them, instead of this every 3 years, you're kind of cycling through over the vice president is, that's their role is the co-signer.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. Yep.
And
Go ahead,
Jeff,
Renee.
I can just add a little bit more clarification too. So I think what Jenny was referring to was, so there's a level of support that we can offer. And when we were originally, signing on with Magip to do some more work, one of the services we can offer is to manage your finances, as far as like doing your taxes, managing your monthly reports and those types of things. And so at the time, you have a pretty high functioning board, and you have a very high functioning treasurer position that does those things. So you didn't really need those services or need to spend the additional money to hire us to do it. So I think that might've been what Jenny was referring to. I think for this situation, the reason you guys had put out to a vote to add me as an additional signer was just in the event. I think the only time I would ever even do it is if there was a situation like up at the board retreat, or if you were in between treasurer positions, or just somebody wasn't available to sign off on to get a bill quickly paid or something like that. So I think what you guys are putting in place by adding me as a signer is just, I'm kind of a backup plan if you need something paid and your treasurer is not available.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that would still fall under what your contract is, so.
Yeah, I'm not like getting access to the checking account to start managing your finances or anything like that. I'm just being added in the event that your board is in the middle of a transition and you need that kind of continuity and somebody who can, maybe provide some banking information, or pay a bill or write a check or something like that. So I don't know if that's helpful, but there's kind of two different things.
Document right there?
We currently don't have this as part of our.
No, I know that, but in this document here, we may want to have that in writing, like what she was saying. The whole point of the administrator is just to, cover the bases in case we're in between treasurers, or we're, just but nothing more than that. I don't know if we need to put that.
Kind of referenced.
Is it referenced in there? Okay, yeah.
In that role
Yeah.
sentence there.
You do have that in
So,
there, yeah.
okay, so, yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good that's in there then. I mean, we should have, I was thinking we should have something like that in there, written down, so.
Yeah, I think this was mentioned at our November meeting, that we should have some restrictions on
Yeah.
when Michelle would be able to assign.
Right.
And how that, so that, you know, the how is the majority by the three executives.
Yep. That's good.
Okay, we'll just table this for next month, just to give everybody a little more time, to review this. Okay, the members meeting, this is kind of a new idea, I think most of you are aware of this, I guess for those that are on the call. We were thinking about doing a members meeting on Tuesday afternoon of the conference. It would probably be after the EMLIAC, meeting, that would be from 1 to 3. And so we were thinking that the members meeting would be from probably 3 to 4:30, and then the keynote, we're actually gonna have an additional keynote this year, so the keynote would go, Michelle, is it right? Is it 4:30 that we told?
Yeah, I have the member meeting from like 3 to 4:30, and then the keynote speaker of 4:30, 4:40. We might want to leave a little, you know, transition time in there, but yeah, that's about right.
Yep, and then we're still gonna have our luncheon speaker on Wednesday, so, I guess the next question that, our next couple questions, so the purpose of this meeting would kind of just be to highlight the board positions and the roles that we take on, kind of in front of the conference, kind of main stage. And it also allows for us to engage with the membership, which I don't think we've done in the past. I mean, I think we tried to do it, for the 2020 conference, but obviously that was canceled, so, because I think Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the board was planning like some sort of like board lunch or something like that. I stepped away. But anyway, so this members meeting, we could also, conduct, you know, kind of some light business and make this more of our board meeting as well, instead of having to meet on Friday, which I think I've talked to a few of you about this, so I want to get the rest of your guys' opinions. Instead of having to meet Friday morning, you know, obviously we would just do probably a light business, but most of it would just be an opportunity to engage with our membership, so.
I like it.
I was under the impression that we were gonna have it on Tuesday,
Yeah.
so.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think the members meeting would be good. I think it's a really good time.
Yeah.
You know, and something different, like you said, Jeff, and I think, good opportunity I like the engagement aspect, right, of trying to, you know, get some feedback and stuff from our community, right before the keynote. As far as board business, I'm not sure if that, you know, we might wanna consider a different time during the conference, even if it's a couple hours, like on a Wednesday afternoon or something, but, because I think we should probably commit ourselves to, I'm not sure, like, what light business really we could do.
I was gonna say, I don't think there'd be much of a meeting anyway.
Well,
Sure.
It's not gonna be a couple hours, we only need maybe a half hour to an hour at most, I would think.
yeah, so being on the board previously, you know, we would meet probably for like 3 or 4 hours after the conference, but most of it was just like conference recap stuff. Like, it was nothing that we can't do at our next conference planning meeting or our next board meeting.
Sure.
Because then it kind of gives you a little bit more time to digest it. You
Yeah.
have the reviews back. I mean, we wouldn't have anything on Friday to go off of, just like speculation or just first thought, what did you think of the conference?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess light business minus the engagement with the membership, that would probably be most of the focus within that hour and a half. But obviously, like, proving the March minutes, you know, some of the stuff we have to do at the beginning of the meeting, roll call.
I was just gonna say, if you guys are handling any critical business during that time, but it sounds like you don't, so it might as well just be a glorified members meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we might have like a request for assistance, but I doubt it. We haven't had too many of those lately.
We just plan the board meeting for like the week after or something, and Or,
Wouldn't that be the next scheduled one anyway, somewhere in middle of April? So that'd be-
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to you guys. I mean, but we can certainly replace our board meeting and just meet at this time. I mean, we have the flexibility to do that, so.
I kinda like that Friday meeting. Conference is still fresh in your mind, things that you thought of on Wednesday, you haven't forgotten about.
Yeah.
The folks who wanna stick around, it's just kind of it's always good to get that kind of initial, how everyone's feeling and what could have been done better next time. And we can build from there.
Yeah.
So I kind of in favor of a hour and a half, just kind of, that Friday. But I understand that.
Yeah, I see some advantages to both things. I've participated in those Friday board meetings, and there can be some fatigue, and also, like, well, what else is there left to say? We've said it all over the course of the week. So that's been some of my feeling on it.
Another night at the hotel too.
Yeah, well, that's it. It does make for a long week if you're committed to that. I do like the idea of the Tuesday thing and doing some member engagement there, but maybe conducting some light business actually allows them to see what takes place in those meetings. So, and if we're not doing any really heavy lifting, then maybe it's not a bad idea to conduct it at that time.
Yeah, I went to the Marls conference a couple years ago, and they hold their annual meeting during one of the lunch hours, and that's where they conduct business, and I think they also do elections at that time too. So of course you have everyone there. They just start doing elections right there, nominations, everything. It's quite impressive. I never would imagine us ever doing that, but kind of like the members, one opportunity to engage with the board and kind of see the business side of it, I should say, a little bit, so.
What if we did, my concern on Tuesday is we'll have maybe some workshop attendance.
We won't though, we're wrapping those up before that though.
Yeah, so I'm more just, who's gonna be in Missoula already, if we have a lot of people from, like, say, Butte driving in every day, and the Missoula folks, they may not wanna drive to Missoula that Tuesday night when they're gonna be driving Wednesday, Thursday. And then that gives us some time on the ground at the conference to promote it. And that's the other thing, is I just, we could do this, it'd be great if we had a bunch of people show up, but if no one knows about it, something new, people are just getting into town, or they haven't even gotten into town yet, they just wanna get to their hotel room checked in.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping though, like, once we send all this stuff out, people are gonna realize we've moved the keynote to Tuesday. And I think we've had fairly good success even at that Tuesday night event too.
yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the kickoff, right? And so I think
so we're kind of moving that kickoff point to,
get folks to
Tuesday
coming
afternoon.
just a little earlier, so that the majority is probably coming on a Tuesday night anyways. But we're just trying to get folks to come in a little earlier, and with the incentive of a keynote and stuff. I think we're going to try it. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm sure the conference planning group's been discussing this a lot more, and kind of coming in after this.
Yeah. I mean, this idea first came out when we were talking about it at the retreat, and I guess it's just trying something different at this point. When I was a student, I think the last time something like this was tried was back in Kalispell, 2012, and they had their agenda for it started like Tuesday afternoon.
I think the intent too was, like, historically the member meeting has been held like Thursday afternoon after.
Well, it's kind of the summit, yeah. So this is kind of combining your board meeting, summit, all that. So.
And the attendance hasn't historically been that,
because it's at the end of the conference.
Right. People are anxious to be home, and so I think the conference planning committee, at the retreat, we kind of discussed, hey, let's maybe move it to the beginning. People are, excited and anxious to start.
I mean, if we have something on Friday, there's gonna be tons of people. I mean, are we planning on having a lot of people there? Because a lot of people are gonna wanna leave after the conference.
Yeah,
Thursday.
yeah. Well, I think what's
I'm all
emerging,
for the Friday thing too, but yeah, I mean, if it's just board members, I could see Friday being fine, we'll just stay another extra day.
And that's what's been in the past, and, kind of just a board meeting, but I think this is kind of an opportunity for us to engage with our membership and kind of seeing how other conferences do it. I mean, we can try. I still don't think there's any losing in trying,
yeah.
Hey,
The one thing I'm hearing here is that there does seem to be some, you're going to miss some people if you do it in the beginning, and you're going to miss some people if you do it at the end.
That's what, why, did we consider doing a Wednesday or Thursday lunch instead?
I think we are, yeah, we're still doing it.
Okay.
Oh, you mean for a keynote or?
As like for this kind of, show people
Summit.
what the board does. That's, I guess, yeah, I understand Friday's kind of a pushing it. I don't want to stick around till Friday, but.
Yeah,
That's kind of when you mentioned Marl's does it on like a lunchtime mid-conference. That was kind of, that doesn't sound like a horrible idea to get people attending.
where we were at in 2020 on this was kind of having a quick board meeting. And I think we were going to do it Sunday evening because everybody was the board members were kind of already there to help do the prep and that for the conference. So do like a quick board meeting Sunday night, talk about and kind of finalize plans of what to talk about at and actually make it like an annual meeting at Thursday at noon, because people don't necessarily stay for the summit. But if you do it over lunch, you've kind of got a captive audience. And then there were a couple of more not workshops, presentations after that to kind of keep people around. It is exhausting to add that extra Friday day, but the other thing about doing Tuesday, if they're not taking workshops, travel, and maybe, I mean, for people coming from this side of the state and whatnot, there might be, they might be traveling the entire day. So it's a little bit hard to try to schedule things in the afternoon like that on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, on Wednesday, we already have something going on. We have Onyx speaking at our lunch. And then kind of taking feedback from our attendees, not having something on Thursday where it's just lunch, where we can enjoy each other's company and network. I think it'd be a lot to add to Thursday, because then we're kind of rushing it too, because it's kind of a shortened time period. At least with this time period, it's a little longer. I don't know, I'm curious of the attendance increase that we'll get on Tuesday. I think it'll be better than what some of you are thinking, but especially since we're moving the keynote is probably the big piece. People want to take part of the keynote and the social event. This is kind of a good opportunity or a good reason to come earlier.
Yeah, and Jeff, we talked about too, there's, for those people who won't be in the, like the 1 to 3 p.m. workshop timeframe, is, maybe having the exhibitors and sponsors set up a little bit early and do make that more interactive with them, which might draw people there. We could set up not the job fair thing, but the what was the GISP or the doctor's office thing? You maybe have that going as an opportunity for people to come and do some more ad hoc type stuff, but have some other things maybe going on during that time period that would be that people might want to come early for, and then move into the member meeting. They'd be like, oh, I want to come to that. So, and then they would already be there for the member meeting. But, adding some more things that for those people who aren't going to be in workshops, but that might get them there a little bit earlier so that they have something to go to.
Mm-hmm. Make sure, like, we decide to stick with the schedule, we, promote it as well, and just say, hey, we're doing something, it's going to be a little different this year, please consider.
Yeah, I think promotion's going to be key in the next couple months. Hopefully we can get everything open early February, so that's still what we're shooting for, so.
Doctor's office?
Would, yeah,
I was gonna say, I was a little surprised by that, but I didn't remember hearing about that.
It hasn't really gone over well in the past, though, that's the thing, is,
Yeah,
what were you gonna have there, Pete?
Oh, I don't know if we had clarified if we were gonna, well, for the members meeting, if it's, kind of open. I don't know if we were gonna like push that very much, as far as like public night. But, for verbiage, like, I don't know if you need to be registered to attend the members meeting.
mm. Yeah,
I would say no. I think that would be kind of a strict gatekeeper sort of thing going on. Oh, you're not a member, you can't attend the meeting.
Or I guess, yeah, like, you don't have to be registered for the conference necessarily.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah, you're kind of, it's more leading into like the public night sort of thing too.
That's still a few hours earlier though. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it should be for members.
I still don't know if it'll be much of a public night though. I mean, I think Helena's was rare. I mean, we certainly didn't get much of the public in Great Falls.
Well, I mean, I think it depends on how much you push it and advertise
Yeah.
it as well. I mean,
And then with this
but-
COVID
and with
stuff
COVID,
too.
I think we kind of realized like, or at
yeah,
our last meeting, we discussed like kind of holding off on advertising it and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
less families.
And then, so.
yeah, I mean, I think we have to be conscious of the fact that we've had 2.5 years of training to stay away from crowds, you know, and so to expect the public to come rushing into a hotel lobby is, I don't know. I'm doubting that right now.
Yeah, we had talked about just for that night, you know, and talking to the sponsors and exhibitors is just, you know, having it more keyed just to our attendees. Like we wouldn't, you know, like you said, we were trying to be careful of the optics and the perception of inviting the public to an event like that right now in the midst of what we're dealing with. So, you know, just really communicating with the sponsors and exhibitors, you know, our attendees will be there and like do things and show your product off to the people that are going to be in attendance and not necessarily from the public.
Yep.
Anyone else have anything? We could move that professional development format up to, talk about it before lunch.
So as far as the members meeting, we want to kind of review like what our, you know, what schedule is and what we're thinking about doing.
You know, we can also vote too, you know, since most of us are here, if we want to replace our board meeting on Friday, let's make it democratic, I guess. But what were you saying there, Jason?
well, yeah, let's kind of go over the schedule on Tuesday then, to kind of iron out exactly what we're doing on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
As far as just like the members meeting, if we have a members meeting for
Yeah.
an hour and a half, like what,
Right.
as a board, like what are we expecting? Like what's the content? What are we hoping?
Yeah,
to
well,
accomplish?
obviously, I think we would start off with some, you know, light business.
So, well, first of all, when is the workshops end at 1?
Two?
Except
like,
Eric's.
Yeah, there's like one that might extend to like 2:30.
Okay,
Most of them are gonna end at noon, though.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Was it the arcade one? The arcade one's gonna go until about
correct,
2
yeah.
or 2:30.
2:30, okay. And then next we're gonna do what?
The members meeting,
The Emiliac one, we're sliding that one in at 1 o'clock. That one's always been Tuesday afternoon.
yeah, you said 1 to 3.
1 to 3, yeah, they want 2 hours, I believe, so.
So, yeah.
And then we would go right after that. From 3 to 4:30.
And that's gonna be the members meeting.
Yep.
That's not gonna be like our board meeting, that's gonna work
Well,
in the public, or that's what we're deciding on.
This is what we're trying to decide on, and we can vote on it here in a little bit.
So I think
You
for
know,
that, I think for that 1 to 3 or that 2 to 3 or time frame where there's going to be maybe an hour to 2 hours in between when the workshop's end and when the member meeting starts, is when we you know, we need to think of what else could be happening. Like maybe can be an exhibitor showcase time where they, you know, we really encourage people to go visit all the exhibitors, or maybe that's where you have some roundtable stuff, or, you know, I think you got to do something to fill that space that would add value to somebody coming early.
Okay, instead of just the council meeting. Yeah, when do we have the exhibitors setting up though? Would we have to revise that?
Yeah, we would just have to ask them to set up a little bit. I think we usually ask them to be set up like by 3 or 4. So we would just ask them to set up a little, you know, be set up a little bit sooner.
By like 1:32, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Which I
fine with.
don't think would be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm fine with, you know, especially if people come at like 1:30, at that point at the registration table, just encourage them to either go to the council meeting or go visit with the exhibitors. They're set up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we need anything much more than that. I mean, I think if we do anything more than that, we're kind of just taking away from the council meeting and the exhibitors. You know, you're kind of just putting too much going on at once.
We have our map gallery that night too, right?
Yes, that evening, yes. Yeah,
That's after the keynote.
yeah, that's during our public night or open house or whatever we want to call it.
This wouldn't conflict with the MLIA board meeting, would it? Because they like to have that during.
Not our members meeting, not our members meeting, no. But those folks that are not interested in the council meeting, they can just go visit with the exhibitors. I think that's kind of what Michelle's point was.
Network.
Or network,
You know,
yeah.
people.
I guess at that point, you know, we can set some bar tops out, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause we'd probably just do it in that atrium. I don't know how many of you have been to the Missoula downtown. I'll get a little preview of that because I'm going to the Marls conference here in a few weeks, and they're doing it at the Holiday Inn downtown. So it'll be interesting how that conference is operated in the same venue that we're supposed to. So.
And when is that at?
That's the 3rd week of February.
Oh.
Yeah, because we're having a booth at State Library. We're paying for a booth, so. Yeah, and that conference is usually very well attended, so I would imagine they'll have more than us, so. And I think at the members meeting, we just talk, you know, light business at the top, do what we have to do to essentially conduct a board meeting. This is what I'm proposing, I should say. We'll vote on it. And then we could just probably beforehand, we'll just probably hash out what sort of topics we want to talk with the membership. You know, kind of make it an open roundtable, open forum, and those folks that, you know, those members that want to speak to the board can at that time, or, you know, if there's any issues, you know, we can start talking about any sort of things, you know, like from the membership side, what is the board not doing or is doing, you know, right, so.
So a little more informal, you're thinking?
Yeah, I would say more informal. Once we get past our board business, I think just keeping it open, you know, you know.
I'm good with all that, but then we're kind of getting away from, I mean, wasn't the whole idea of the summit to have a, you know, how'd the conference go in your mind, you know, what reaction did you get kind of thing, and are we gonna put that over to the next meeting then? Kind of thing, or am I not understanding that right?
I'm trying to think of when the summit.
Because it wasn't the summit at the end it was always at the end.
It was always at the end, yeah.
And we're trying to eliminate that now, right?
In a sense, you know, some of that stuff can be done through survey, but, you know, and I think some of you have stuck around for that. Have you stuck around for the summit?
I might have stuck around once, yeah.
I thought that was more like a member meeting, though.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, but for the few that did stay, it was valuable. I mean, I usually always stayed just because I had nothing else to do. My boss approved me to be through the end of Thursday, so as long as you don't live in like Glendive or Miles City and you have a, you know, 6-hour drive ahead of you, you know.
Yeah, I mean.
I kind of feel like that's always supposed to have been the member meeting where we get the feedback, where the board gets feedback. from the members and that sort of thing. And part of the reason to change it up a little bit and either like make it a luncheon or do it earlier or during some other time was to get better attendance from the members.
I think we can get, opinions of the conference and stuff through the survey like we've always done, and it seems like we get good feedback. But
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I'm clear on what we're doing here and stuff, and it sounds like we're trying to get rid of the Friday thing, which is the summit, right?
Well, and that's a good point. I mean, so we could still have some summit topics in there, but you'd be talking more, high level of
Right.
kind of, what do you think we could do in the future to improve the conference?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we could still have input, but it would be more towards 2023, 2024 versus analyzing what just happened, which sometimes it's hard to analyze what just happened.
Oh, I agree.
And that's kind of what we send out those surveys for too, and they're very valuable. So, but most of the time, even within that, we do ask if they attend the summit, and the vast majority of them didn't even attend the summit. So it's just like, why are we even having the summit to begin with? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the members meeting will be beneficial just because it's a quick review of what we do, who the board members are, their responsibilities, and then and try to engage, right? Like, not necessarily anything to do with the conference, just trying to get the community there early, trying to get them excited. Here's what we're doing. What do you guys see? What are some things that we need to do differently? Like, and then post-conference, just send out the survey. People head home for the weekend, and then Monday, send out a survey and provide some feedback, but.
Your member
yeah,
meetings also, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Michelle, sorry.
I was just going to say your member meetings also an opportunity for you to conduct any business that would need to be, like if you had anything that needed to be voted on by your membership, if you did have a bylaws change or something like that. I mean, it's also a time for you to vote on any type of business that you would need to with your membership too. So, because that's
I don't think
what it,
We bypass that meeting.
Yeah, I understand your point there, Michelle, and I think some conferences do that, but they typically would do it when all the membership is there. Like sometimes like a lot of our membership doesn't even attend the conference, and I don't know. I think, doing the bylaws revision there, I mean, since we always do it now, 3 or 4 weeks after the conference, we probably should just stick with that schedule, because otherwise you're having to approve the bylaws revision that meeting and then going out to do your elections later, which it's kind of like, well, why don't you just combine them both? Yeah. Had we actually had more, I wouldn't really say more, but, the idea that the elections would take place just right after the conference, then having the nominees, it was kind of their platform at the conference to kind of say who they were. That was a great idea, I think, several years ago, but, I think it never really panned out. We always just have one candidate in each slot. This year is actually, I'll give Jenny and her crew credit for making all those elected positions. We actually had great turnout. I think we had pretty much an election for each one of them. I think Mike was the only one that ran unopposed for vice president, which is nothing new for us. But all those other committee slots, treasurer and secretary, they all had 2 people to vote for, which I think competitiveness is never a bad thing.
Right.
So Nate, at 11, did you want to go like a little bit before 11:30?
Yeah.
To get the food? Okay. Because we probably will jump into the next one, and then I'll probably just expand the reports in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'll take off for that.
Okay. So let's dive into a little bit the professional development forum topics. Jason, this was your topic. If you want to kind of talk
Can,
about it.
can we just move back really quick?
Yeah,
to
go-
the
go for it.
members meeting?
Oh,
Sorry-
yeah, we-
Sorry to, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, I'm trying to figure out a way to make sure that we entice folks, obviously to, we want them to come early for the keynote and stuff, but as far as the membership meeting, I don't know if there's anything that we need to come up with to, help promote it a little more, to get folks to attend, I don't know if we need to offer, I don't know, like, we just need folks to contribute and, like, offer considerations and stuff, and I don't know how.
Well, I mean, I think we'll just hit the, our messages out to the public pretty hard.
Sure, leading up to it and just.
And as much as I appreciate the metrics that Michelle contributes, I think the closer we get to the conference, the more that, that rate will go up in terms of
Yeah.
clicking and actually reading our messages. I think that's always one thing that we've always struggled with, every year almost. And it's hard, because, most people, and I would speak for myself too, we get a lot of emails every day. And so the vast majority of emails barely get read, or they get skimmed on very quickly as you're on to the next thing or on to your next project. So,
Yeah.
it's hard because we live in this digital age where, there's no longer newspapers. We no longer send things out in the mail anymore. So.
I think another thing, I think we should also push the map gallery, because those kind of, just come a little early, attend the meeting, and then, like, that's such a good time for students to present and network and.
Yeah.
Is that the plan for the map gallery, is to have each one person that sent a map to it to be there to present?
That's usually the goal. I'm trying to remember in the past.
I don't know if they present it, they're there.
They're there to ask any questions, I should say.
Yeah, okay.
Where, I think maybe what you're talking about is that web app contest.
Well, that too. Isn't that gonna be all part of one, or is that a whole
Yeah.
separate thing?
Yeah,
That's all part of that evening, yeah.
Well, no, but the whole map gallery thing is gonna be, and web app presentation.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's all kind of together at
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
night,
Yeah, and then we have people voting kind of throughout the week, but they can
Right,
start
right.
voting that night if they
Right.
want to. And then it's their opportunity to ask questions to the poster recipient. I guess before we go on to the next item too, maybe let's just do a quick vote on, yay or nay to do our board business there. Because I think the other opportunity, or the other option is to either keep it on Friday or keep it at a regularly scheduled time, the third Tuesday of the month. That would be the next week, I think.
So we're talking about skipping that then, and putting it in.
Yeah, that would be the third option, so.
Or technically, really, I guess, another option might be Sunday night if we're all planning to be there Sunday night.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Yeah.
everyone is. Yeah.
So I guess we can probably just go around the room and see what, not really a yes or no, but, I guess I'll start. I would rather just do it at the members meeting. We're all there. Something new to try, kind of gives the membership a perspective of what the board does, what we approve, what sort of business is conducted, so.
What's attendance been like in the past with members?
We haven't, this is something completely new,
Okay.
yeah. Something that you're probably referring to as the summit, which we do on Thursday after the conference, which I don't think I ever remember a time there being more than 20 people. It's always
Right.
less than 20. And a lot of times it's just the locals, so if we're having it in Helena, that might be the biggest turnout. Obviously the conference planning committee members might stick around too, but, we really don't need feedback from them, so.
Yeah, for me personally, I prefer probably not to do it during the Tuesday afternoon members meeting, just
Okay.
because I think we should focus on the membership. And I understand, like, they could see,
Yeah.
but I just don't think it's they can really see it at any time.
Don't want to bore them.
Yeah, right. I think if we promote it in a way that, to get them
Yeah,
engaged,
yeah.
I really think that
Are you still thinking about having that third Tuesday then?
I would personally prefer to either have it a different, probably the week after.
Yeah.
There's no maybe in this there, Jason.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it said maybe Sunday night or,
Yeah.
whatever, but yeah, I would rather just keep it separate
Okay.
from the conference, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I agree of having a board meeting the following week,
Okay.
just to kind of have a recap of how the
Yeah.
conference went and listening
So
to
you're both
this.
for the third Tuesday? Okay.
And then focus more on, like, members on the.
Okay. So it sounds like most of you are in favor of doing some sort of membership meeting there, but just making it just a very open discussion, no board meeting required.
I kind of side with you, Jeff. I kind of think we should do the board meeting.
Tuesday?
Yeah, that way, again, people who attend, they can see what the board does. If we're trying to recruit people to run for positions and all that, they can see us do our reports and ongoing business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we don't have to draw it out. We can probably hammer these out in 10, 15 minutes.
Well, that's
what I was thinking, is very top.
Yeah. I'm with both of the ideas, but, really am. But the thing is that it depends. I mean, if we can keep things short, I mean, if we can keep it for a half hour, then we got another hour, to mingle with the members and everything. I mean, if we can keep our board meeting short and, our previous meeting, we can get most things done if we need to get things done. And then the next meeting would be in, May. If we can wait that long, I'm kind of good with having it on a Tuesday, as long as we can keep things it'd be good to have have members see what we do and stuff.
Cause also in May, what would happen is a lot of our financials are in at that point too. If we have the next week, we're gonna be bare bones on a lot of that. Michelle might be able to work some numbers up, but that's asking a lot for something, just a quick turnaround.
Are we gonna have like topics for this meeting, or is it just?
Yeah, we'll probably be talking about it within the month or so. I mean, it was sort of like what we were doing for this meeting. I did kind of float it out to you guys, what should we talk about for this meeting, so.
I think that's gonna be important.
Yeah.
To share with the community.
Yeah, we could certainly go out for some sort of, community.
I mean, we gotta advertise and tell them, hey, look, we're having our meeting, this is what we do, come see what we do,
I think that's really important.
Yep.
We decided to do it on the Tuesday, which I'm totally fine about. I just think.
You prefer to do it another time, yeah?
Well, I really think if we promote a board meeting on a Tuesday at 3:00.
Well, we wouldn't really promote it as a board meeting. We would promote it as a members meeting, but we would conduct some light business.
Understood. I still think we should note somewhere that, hey, just a heads up, we're gonna do some light business.
Yep.
Yep.
So you can see.
Yep.
Right.
I mean,
So-
we just call it the membership meeting, and we could make that an annual board meeting, an annual membership meeting.
Yep.
Where all members who are capable to attend can, so.
So Aaron,
Hey, I'd like to chime in a little bit on that there. I like the idea of what we're talking about so far. And just to voice my opinion, I prefer to not have the meeting on Friday. I also prefer not to have it on Sunday.
Yep.
I mean, that's a long.
Two options.
Yeah. Tuesday sounds good to me. Wednesday to me even sounds better. But I also like, I'm kind of wondering how much business do we actually have to conduct at that meeting?
That's my point. Like, we approve March's minutes,
Yes, and so.
That's really it.
Right. And so what I'm envisioning.
Well, I'd like to go through each group, and they can give a little.
Yeah, we'll go probably, it'd be kind of it'd be an opportunity for us to go around the room, kind of like what we did at the beginning of this meeting, but we can go more into depth of, hey, this is my role on the.
Oh, no, I mean, each little group that they gotta give their little.
Oh, do the reports.
Yeah, do the reports.
We can certainly do the minutes.
Yeah.
Do the reports, and I guess that the reports tie into what do you actually do?
Right.
What's your committee do?
Right.
Exactly. That is exactly the vision that I was just having about this. It doesn't need to be terribly long. we get introduced, we go through the last minutes, we do our committee reports, you know, and then it can be free form from there.
Yep, totally agree. So is that your vote there, Rob?
Yeah, you can put that in whatever box you want.
It's the same with me. I do like that integrated, in the same day on Tuesday.
Okay. What's your thoughts there, Fabe?
As long as it's an adapted board meeting.
Adapted, yep. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, I'd say that as well.
Change your vote? All right.
Peer pressure, man.
Peer pressure.
Change mine too.
Yeah, I can,
Hold your ground, man, come on.
yeah, I'll ask Michael and see what his preferences are, and see if he's unable to make it, so.
We need a numbered vote. It's always been unanimous. We need some.
Jason, unless you want to take your, change your vote.
I'm totally fine with doing it on Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, I know.
For sure. Yeah, I would want the, you know, our membership to know that, hey, we're doing this at the beginning, so you can
Okay.
see it's an added benefit, right? Part of the member.
Yep.
I do think it would be good to have some sort of debrief. You know, like, I was kind of torn on the Tuesday meeting, the following Tuesday meeting, and I do think the way to wrap things up.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
that's just me though personally.
We could have a planning committee meeting and have our members there.
That's a good compromise, I think, because I think we usually do try to meet either the week after or 2 weeks after. Sometimes it's 2 weeks after, because we like to get the survey responses back, so it might not necessarily be, you know, the Tuesday right after, but it would probably be either the end of the month or I guess sometimes it goes into May, but.
How's that Discord server keeping up with that? Is there any talking points?
I think our Discord server.
I mean, if we're talking about, you know, a wrap up, sort of, you can chime in.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, have it on record, so comment,
Yeah.
instead of having a formalized. Which one you get?
Michelle or Jenny, what's your thoughts, I guess, from your perspective?
On having the board meeting on Tuesday?
Yeah.
I don't really have a thought either way. I think it's not typical of an association to have their board meeting during an annual member meeting, but your member meeting's a little different than most typical member meetings too. So I think for purposes of what you're doing, I think it would be fine. I think since you don't have since you're not really conducting any other member voting or any other business at the meeting, I think it would be fine.
I kind of like the idea of as a member meeting, making it, you could approve the minutes and just keep it brief at that as far as board business, but I like using it for promoting elections, whether it's issues that are upcoming and need to be voted on, or board member position, and just tell them a little bit about what the positions are and kind of use it to sell the election a little bit. Stuff that's pertinent to the entire membership. We had talked, I think, before when maybe putting out some of the financial information, like a spreadsheet or something, in case people were interested in where's your membership money go and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that might be a nice, I mean, of everything, you know, that might be a nice thing to be able to report on in that kind of a meeting.
And just share, you know, I think, Rob, this came up at the strategic planning, but just a good time to share what what the association's doing, like the good things it's doing in different communities, right? Like tell some stories about what's happening. I think it's a good time to do that too, because then they can go out and talk about it in their communities. So I think it's a good opportunity for that as well.
Review the work not review it, but mention the work plan.
Work plan,
Here's,
yeah.
you know, here's
Right.
kind of the things that we're working on this year, and here's our accomplishments, and
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's on Tuesday afternoon, you can promote the presentations maybe in the conference a little bit and stuff. Explain a little bit what the tracks are and that sort of thing for people that haven't been there before, or even people that have.
And maybe that's another thing you could do, not to put more things against that MLEAC meeting in that 1.5 time period, but maybe you could do like a first time attendee. I don't know, for any first time attendees, if it's our first time there, maybe have like a little, one of you who has been to the conference, maybe do like a little meetup or something for first time attendees directly prior to that member meeting or something too.
In the past, we've done breakfasts and things like that, which were nice because, I mean, we all get together and we all know each other and all that, but for somebody that's brand new, it's awkward.
What I'm really liking the sound of some of these things that we would share at this meeting. Because of some of the good stuff that is going to come out of it, I do have some concerns, you know, with Tuesday morning, if the bulk of the people may be showing up, you know, Tuesday night with the idea of starting their participation on Wednesday, you know, so I am a little concerned. I do like doing things up front because then it gives people who are in attendance at the conference to, you know, recognize board members and have a sense of what they do and that type of thing. I think that's really great. I like doing that up front. I'm just asking if is there any other, or do other people share the concern that maybe Tuesday is too early? Then I'm wondering, could we schedule a slot, you know, as a, you know, we've got presentations and we've got panel discussions and that kind of stuff scheduled throughout the conference. Could we schedule this as one of those tracks, you know, or presentations? You know, or are we afraid that that would take away from other talks?
That's my thought there, Rob. Unless you just start, but then it's Wednesday morning.
I don't know if our conference is actually big enough to have those kind of things. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty, I mean, we only got 1 or 2 rooms.
Yeah.
3 rooms, really.
Yeah.
You know, and
Rob,
then
I kind of like,
I kind of have the same concerns as you, Rob, but I'm kind of viewing it as an experiment, you know?
Yeah.
It can go 3 ways. We can have worse attendance than the Friday summits. We can have the same attendance as the Friday summits and better attendance as the Friday summits, and we just won't, I don't think we will know until we actually show up.
You know, I need my coffee in the morning before I do anything, so I'm not sure if 8 a.m. will work for me, so.
right.
In the past, we'd had the keynote speaker kind of kick off the whole conference too on Wednesday morning, just because people, if they didn't attend the workshops, weren't there prior to that, or they came in late on Tuesday. And also they've had like,
Remember one, we had ours at lunch, I think.
Yeah, there was one of them that the plenary was at like 10 o'clock on Wednesday. And I specifically didn't like that just because, well, and it might have actually been at 8, but people were still kind of dragging in, you know, and most people were not awake at that time, and.
Is that West Yellowstone?
West Yellowstone, the URX conference?
See, I wasn't there, so I can't speak to the West Yellowstone one.
I mean, that's like a Wednesday morning, I mean, obviously it'll cut into all sorts of presentations and stuff like that, but.
Or you would just halt all presentations until after.
Halt
you
everything
just schedule them until after it. It's just kind of a Wednesday morning kickoff, the presentations thing, once everybody gets there.
I mean, I mean,
that's one thing that we've done in the past.
That does seem like the best time slot. You know?
And what are you, Rob, what are you suggesting the topic is for, I missed it, what you were saying what would we be kicking the conference off with?
Yeah, that's because I was talking too much. No, I agreed with like the general topics that we said, we would have introduction to different board members, we would do the minutes, we would do the committee reports, and then maybe a quick financial report. That's all I'm suggesting for that. But my concern was the time frame. I'm okay with Tuesday. As you guys said, it's an experiment. Personally, I think probably Wednesday might work better, just because you're definitely have your conference attendees in place. And then if we advertise it as part of, announcing the conference, we could say, and as a special twist this year, we're going to start the conference with a quick member meeting.
Yeah. Rob, are you thinking early morning, or are you thinking like right before the lunchtime keynote, or?
Well, if you know me, then you would know that I tend to prefer the gentleman's hour. So not early in the morning, but yeah, maybe like 11:30, right before lunch. And then there's something to talk about at lunch.
So what?
That's the same day the keynote's going on at 11:30 though. I guess we could push all that back.
Yeah,
I was just going to say at this, it's getting to the point, we've already confirmed the keynotes and we have the schedule fairly set. The conference committee already kind of set the schedule. So I think it's okay if you guys want to move things around. I just think it definitely would need to be decided at this meeting, because we're very close to putting out a tentative schedule so we can open up registration. So if we're going to be moving things around in the schedule, I do think you guys need to decide that at this meeting, because we're just not that far out from the conference and we've already kind of set some of this stuff, I get. Or in my mind, I thought the conference planning committee had already set the schedule, so I didn't even know we were moving it around.
Well,
yeah, I don't think we're moving it around. We're just discussing options, but
we don't know how many talks we're going to have yet either, right? So maybe we can.
Well, here's another thing to consider, because especially if we want to do more than an hour. So if the keynote kicks off at 11:30, you want to take an hour and a half from that. That's starting that at 10 o'clock. And now you only have 2 hours of presentations. I don't know. I think if we were to try that, I think we probably need to think about it more. Maybe do the keynote, over the lunch hour, and maybe starting at 12:30. Moving that keynote back. But this is kind of getting too late to do all the shuffling, I think.
we just need to promote it for Tuesday. Like Rob was saying.
Yeah.
If we promote it on Wednesday, that's great. But, we probably should have decided that a little earlier.
Yeah.
We just need to over-promote it for Tuesday and say, hey, look, come the day before, we're having our keynote, we're having this members meeting and all this stuff, kind of promote that a little bit more.
Exactly. And then I think that was the idea, having a keynote on Tuesday. So hopefully people that want to show up, contribute with the members meeting, be there for the keynote, and then obviously into our social event.
Right.
I still think there's going to be better attendance than most of you think. Yeah. I'm not sure moving it to Wednesday is kind of on the table. I think it was just more kind of like, do we want to conduct board business or not?
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I misunderstood then. Sorry. I thought you were talking about moving the member meeting to Wednesday.
We kind of were.
Yeah, we want it on the week after. We don't want it on this week now.
I'm just confusing myself, that's all.
No, all good thoughts though. All good thoughts.
We're committed but nervous? Is that the consensus?
Yeah, I think that's probably true, for sure.
We'll have good feedback for 2023.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tuesday's a good day, or if you want to move it to Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
What would the meeting, would it be like intermingling with the members and saying, hey, this is the things we talk about, these are the things we produce, this is the elections, how they go down. And then if you guys want to stick around, we're going to actually conduct a small meeting to get things done if you want to watch that happen. Because I think doing that business is probably
I think
Pretty
probably,
dry.
I think just go straight into that, you know, I think from the top.
Well, I was thinking about doing that first.
Yeah, yeah.
While everybody's there,
Stuff
getting
right
it done, and then we can talk to everybody afterwards, yeah.
They might yawn, but hey, it's,
Gotta let them know what we're doing, so that, you know, if they, and then we can promote the elections, you know, say, hey, look, this is what, you know, you're getting yourself involved with, kind of thing.
yep. Okay,
Good discussions, guys.
yeah, I think this is already more productive than any of our, virtual ones, so.
Yeah.
Too bad you couldn't be here though, Rob, we're having a party in here.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Having our masks on, social party, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're all getting used to it to some extent.
Yeah, that's true. Do we wanna briefly go into the next one? I really don't wanna do too much without Nate, but, you know, Nate's gonna go grab lunch real fast just because the place that we chose didn't deliver, so. I guess we can briefly talk about some of the forum stuff. Jason, do you want to go into any of that?
Sure, yeah. This is just a question to the board. It sounds like there's been similar discussions in the past about it. I just thought I'd bring it up, and this all came to be a couple weeks ago. I just received a call from somebody that said, hey, I'm out on the East Coast, I'm planning to move to Helena here in the next 6 months. You know, can you give me some ideas for where to look and what to do? And I want to go, I've got some background in GIS, and so essentially somebody reaching out about employment opportunities specifically in Helena. And so, you know, shared some general information, obviously shared the listserv, importance of signing up for that, and some additional ideas as far as maybe reaching out, you know, to some, you know, engineering firms that might be looking for GIS folks, et cetera. But then, you know, she had asked about, you know, does Magip, she's a member of Magip now and stuff, and she just asked, hey, is there, you know, is there an opportunity? She's planning to attend the conference, you know, gave her that information and just asked, hey, is there an opportunity to, is there like a job board there, or an option for me to talk with folks and just let them know that I'm looking for jobs, and are there any other resources essentially? So I thought I'd, you know, share that with the board, and then offer, you know, maybe suggestions as to additional incentives for becoming a board member, to where folks can maybe promote themselves and or share their resume, or go through the discussion forum avenue and just say, hey, I'm planning to move, here's my information, let me know if you have questions, or you know, stuff like that. So essentially I just wanted to share that was, you know, a phone call I received, and then just started thinking about maybe some, you know, other options that Magip can potentially provide her outside of the listserv.
So I remember this has been brought up in the past before. And it's actually kind of one of the things that got me onto the board, kind of trying to get something beyond the listserv in terms of not necessarily a job, but or just networking opportunities in terms of discussion forums or message boards or something. And what I found is it's getting people to use it is huge. A lot of people, like, you know, when you see these, you know, big online job boards and postings and stuff, is, you know, someone took a lot of time to build that community up. I think that's where we have a forum with jobs, a job category on there. It's just no one ever uses it. So I think it's a great idea, and maybe now is a great time to revisit it because of the employment crisis going on.
Yeah, so this is a good example of the Montana Association of Planners. They kind of do have it more front and center. They have it kind of as a tab or whatever out the front. And then I believe the one stipulation is you have to be a member to have
Access to
that, which, I mean, not necessarily access to it, but have your job posted on there.
Gotcha.
So one of the internships that came out recently was from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
Yeah.
That really didn't hit the state's job thing, I don't really think. That was kind of just more of a, spread this for however you want. Cause I know, Gail, or what's her name? I think it was Dawn's her name. She had, sent it out to the listserv, but like, something like that, if, you know, say, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, and I believe most of them are members, they could have their internships or their full-time positions on here. Biggest piece for us is like, who's gonna maintain it, who's gonna pull these down when these jobs expire, who's gonna put them up? So I mean, it could be a shared position, and I think the role is from president, past president in, you know, web subcommittee, that could be part of their roles, as whoever gets the emails, you know, to kind of spread the information up to our website. I don't know. I think it just really depends on what we're looking for. But I mean, as far as, you know, anything past that though, like any sort of like resume posting, this and that, I think that has to be our discussion forum. And you'd have to be a member to access that.
Absolutely.
And no one's really using it currently, kind of like to Steve's point is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, I just thought of something. When you said, you know, to post on Marls, you have to be a member. What if instead of doing that, you just pay a fee to post the job posting? That might, you know, give us a little more revenue. Maybe to use some sort of third-party software or some other system that would manage it a lot more easily than if, you know,
That's
you and
what
I having to go in there every week and update or something.
Yeah.
that would be my question, who would manage that?
Right, and that's what I'm saying, maybe if, you know, we charge some rate for a job advertisement, that way if, you know, Idaho, they don't wanna have to join Magip just to post their job,
Right.
but they pay us $15 or whatever, and we post it, and that either offsets the cost of managing that job page or just additional revenue.
Yeah. Would you think that from even our membership though? I mean, I guess if like, so, you know.
Maybe for membership it's reduced or free to post.
Okay.
And I think, you know, applying or sharing a resume, I think if you're a member, that's.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think it'd be hard, you know, like, we get a lot of jobs out of Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna, they wanna join Magip.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Megan's on the call unless she's recently joined, but I'm curious what her thoughts are on this. But I think making it more front and center on our page, I think it would get used more, and, you know, it's kind of like the contractors page. We've had recently, probably within the last year or so, people wanting to sign up to make up, be on that list, because they know it's used by people. I know when we were sending out, when I was in Great Falls, that was one of the first places I looked to, you know, because we were looking to get some of the next gen 911 stuff done. So like the invitation to bid, I was looking for places to invite, you know, organizations to invite, you know. So it's kind of like one of the first places you look if you want work done, or want, you know, or want ideas or to folks that want to invite to bid on your job. So. Yeah, I don't know.
So Jeff, it's Rob here. I just want to say thanks for providing some history on this, and I think it's a common problem that we encounter. You know, we want to provide all these services, but it takes some curation of the site and things of that nature. And so I just did a little experiment, right? So you pulled up this Montana Association of Planners page, and then you went to their jobs, and there's this long-range planner, housing coordinator in Whitefish. Okay, so I just typed in planning jobs, job openings in Whitefish, and that came up as like the first hit. So, you know, do we need to be squirreling away information in our separate little portion of the interwebs here? Or, you know, are people looking for jobs? Are they not Googling?
Yeah, I mean, or hitting Indeed. But the problem is with Indeed, though, I mean, depends on how many pages show up or how many jobs recently are there. You know, you may be looking at ones that have already expired. You know, they do say the 30 plus days, but some of those jobs still could be open. So, this might be an example where we put on there open until filled, and it's kind of more of a description right out front, hey, this fills next week or something, you know, Indeed, you kind of have to go digging and finding, and a lot of them don't even direct you to their page. You kind of have to like do another Google search, City Great Falls jobs, and then go to their human resources. So there's just a lot of clicking, a lot of searching. This could be a place where it's all assembled in one area. It's managed to the perspective where jobs are removed as soon as they're, as soon as that either that time clock expires or they've opened till filled, and then that position's filled. But I guess those would be the tough ones, is open till filled. But
They get broadcast, they get kind of spammed a lot. Where one
Yeah,
employer-
but then, and then we're like doing the research to see if a job's been filled or not. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I see your point there, Rob, and I honestly, I don't expect us to spin up a job board tomorrow. It's something I think we could probably continue to talk about, and I mean,
Were we talking about an online board? I thought we
Yeah.
were kind of talking.
off of our
Oh, yeah,
off of our
right, website stuff.
Yeah, kind of like the map,
Right,
where it's front and center.
So I don't want to poo-poo the idea, right? I mean, I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I've seen that it takes a dedicated effort to maintain it. But there's a lot of guys out there that are just probably at that table where you're sitting that are smarter than I, who could maybe think of some automated way that employers and employees could interact. You know what I mean? Like, we take ourselves out of it, but we provide an opening for the employers to put their job listings and things of that nature.
So we have to remember too, the listserv is like heavily used, and anyone that's looking for a job posts it on the listserv for free.
But it goes
Yeah.
to your email. That's the problem, though. So like, if you're just clicking around on our website, there is no place. Hey, what GIS jobs are out there for Montana? I mean, you kind of have to go to Indeed or some of these other. The state of Montana has only state jobs.
Something that could scrape all the things that are on that and actually put it on our board. Like he was talking about, an automated process that can scrape those emails collated.
Yeah, but then you're kind of rubbing into that. Well, are they actual members? You wouldn't want to post something that if they're not a Magip member, we're not going to put their job up.
Oh, I see. So it's a sort of.
Yeah.
But then, if that's the case, then we're kind of cutting things short too, right? I mean, if we're going to restrict who can post a job, then we're not really posting all the possible jobs.
Yeah.
And what's the point? What's the point of that?
$10, $15
Yeah.
ad fee.
I think that's a good idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we're gonna take
Yeah.
the effort to do this, it's interesting to hear Jeff say that the contractor list is real popular, because
Yep.
that's a fairly new thing, and that was similar, that a
Yeah.
member requested something
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, I'd be curious if as soon as we put this page up, I'd have to do it to some of our other pages. Is it a top hit as soon as we get this page up? So it'd be like Montana jobs. Does the Magip job board come up immediately? Then I could almost see, say Fish Wildlife Park, no one's members there, and they want their internship or their GIS analyst position posted to this. Well, that's where the fee would come into place. Well, to post it, there is a fee associated with it, but
Maybe do a little more research into how it technically will work.
yeah, I mean, short of us putting them in manually, it's just.
Is there a way,
Positions.
is there,
I
like,
mean,
Communication position.
yeah, I mean, but maybe there's something within wild apricot that we're not
Can we talk to
tapping
one of the
into.
people and they say, oh, we already have this set up, this is what your people who want to post a job can do, and they put a timeline. They have to enter the field, you don't have to do any work.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could utilize some of the functions within wild apricot. I mean, we'd have to probably do some research, and maybe we can have Michelle look into it,
Or Megan.
or Megan too. But having those forms kind of build that, and if somebody wants this on our website, they fill out the form, they verify, obviously probably within our back end, that they are a Magip member, will probably logged in.
Yep.
And if they're not logged in, then it kicks them to a fee.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is a way to automate this.
Yeah, there's a checkout
things,
system
yeah.
at the end,
Yeah.
right? That's-
And then it kind of does, and then you kind of do leave it up to the employer to do some of this stuff. Hey, if you want this posted on here, you know, it is a free benefit for, Magip members,
Yeah,
but.
or if you're a member, log in.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Have one other just idea of, maybe to get more people to engage with, say, the listserv or like our resources that we do have is like maybe make a little video on our webpage of just, you know, what Magip is and how to navigate resources and even the webpage.
You have that on the main site there?
Yeah.
A little screencast video. This is how you do it.
Good idea. You guys did like the conference, like, last couple of years, right? Like, there's kind of intro or welcome videos that you guys produced, I think.
I mean, yeah, that was specific for the,
Conference.
event.
Yeah, but something like that, though.
yeah,
Something like that.
I thought those were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Phoebe's with the,
Uh-huh.
with the creek in the
Yeah,
background.
website, yeah. The dog ran around and,
Yeah, well, and that was only your first take on that too, right?
oh, no.
Oh, well, no, you probably had a lot less takes than I did. Like, I wanna say, like, I should've just rolled with it, you know, first couple ones. Like, screw it, I'm just keeping that as my take instead of, you know, every little thing that I fumbled over, like, oh, shoot, now I gotta start all over again.
Looks like there's multiple chats there too.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then she is, just as an FYI, she's planning to attend the conference, and then I, you know, suggested just going around to the vendors and other, you know, our community within at the conference to just network and.
I know Andrew had touched base on something like this before for the conference, and he had like a help desk time period open at the online event, which was not much attendance, but, you know, but there was a window made out during the conference for that.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know if you saw my little message there in the chat. I'm wondering, you know, without, you know, along those lines of automation, can you filter the listserv and, you know, for job openings or announcements for jobs?
Short of actually just typing in job,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't. And I don't know if you can do this with the Google Forums, but that would probably involve some sort of tags, but I don't know if
Right.
I don't know if those Google groups do that though.
Yeah, so I don't know, that's one thing I'm thinking of, if we can advance this cause by using some tools that we would provide to people.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it more. I still think that it could just be a form off of our wild apricot, and if somebody wants to post their job, it's up to them to fill out the information. Yeah, I mean, be curious, because I mean, if this is a true benefit that the community wants, and, you know, maybe this is something we can talk about at our membership meeting, but, that, you know, I think people are gonna want their jobs posted on the page, so.
So what do you do if you see a job, or you know of a job that's going to be advertised, but it's not your place to say so? You know? You know, would you post a message to the listserv saying, hey, I know BLM is going to be hiring in the near future, keep an eye out?
I usually don't do that, just because you're kind of stepping on their toes, and, oh, whose job just opened up, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of listing a house before it actually hits the open market. Yeah, it is. But sometimes I will post something to the listserv and, you know, say I see a job out there, and, you know, or even if I see something off the Wyoming or Idaho board that's related to Montana, I'll just share it. forward it. I'm sure some of you have seen that, so,
Yeah, good conversation. I think just something to consider as a benefit for Magip. You know, you pay the $30.
what do you get?
This is one more thing that could be enticing for folks.
Sounds like there's a need for it.
Definitely was when I first job. It was like one of the first things, oh, have you joined Magip?
Yes.
Better do that, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's probably one of those, like, those benefits that most people think they already get, but just like our forums are not really used, so it's like, yes, it's a benefit that we list on our website, why you become a member, but it's not really anything that's being used, or really there's no platform for it right now. I mean, that's why I think, you know, having a dedicated page on there, I think is maybe more the way to go.
But also a reminder to us to share that with our, you know, at the meeting maybe, and just say, hey, we have these discussion forums for you. Use them.
Yeah. Well, you know, to wrap it all around, this is a wonderful job for a communication specialist.
Yeah, that's what Mike was just saying.
Yep. Absolutely.
The more tasks you add, the more it sounds like a paid position.
A paid position to help other people get jobs. Right? Yeah.
I think Rob should run for the communication specialist. Shaking his head there.
He's like, Rob who?
Right. You really want me to represent you?
Hey now.
Yeah, we set the hours rate and then.
$10 an hour should cover it, right there, Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about what it's worth.
All right, I think that pretty much wraps up our morning, so I guess we'll just wait for lunch and we'll sign off here.
All right. See you back at 12:30.
1 o'clock.
Yeah,
one.
probably, what are you guys thinking for lunch? More like 45 minutes? I mean, we got time. I probably would want to, since we are kicking this, one up, I just wasn't sure on time, but I think we could easily probably expand these reports a little bit. Maybe start with the ones that, I'm not sure if Tommy's gonna, join us. I'll check my emails here in a little bit, so.
Yeah, 12:30 on the agenda, right?
Yeah, 12:30 to resume back from lunch, but 1 o'clock would be the start of the reports, but, I mean, we have the flexibility to revise this. We could start with some of the other committees that we haven't listed, so.
Reports to be a little longer.
Yeah, probably a little longer.
Okay. I'll see you at 12:30.
Cool. No worries. You just missed the treasury report, I think.
Okay, and then, so it is tax season and taxes are coming up. So, I guess I did reach out to the tax person back in September, and so we have touched base then, and she told me to, contact her in March. She said they're pretty straightforward, so that shouldn't be. And then also coming due is the Secretary of State annual report. And so I just need to get an updated address for everyone on board.
Okay.
And so I'll send around the sheet, and then for people who aren't here, I can email out a link to.
Is that something the board has to approve, the taxes then too?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Just look.
once the treasurer takes care of it, it's taken care of.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty recurring process. It's the same every year, so.
No, that's fine, I was just wondering, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So Nate, out of curiosity, are you following like a timeline or anything, or like how do you know, just in general, like the Secretary of State board is due? Like,
Yeah,
has somebody left
so-
some notes and stuff for you?
Yeah, so, when I took over from Jeremy, we had to update the agent of our organization with the Secretary of State. And so they had my email address, and so I just got a notification that it's coming due. And that's a yearly thing, so
Yep.
every year.
Yep.
There's a $20 fee.
Yeah. I wonder if that would be beneficial to like, and I know that's something that we're considering on another board that I'm on, is to kind of update, like have folks maybe create some sort of a timeline or like a, just general considerations, like document that, hey, in February, you have to be prepared for this, or in,
Yeah.
just something to consider
Yeah.
for everyone, yeah. Just so that, your successor will.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
You looking for home address or just work,
It
or anything?
doesn't matter, home or work.
He's got yours.
yeah, well, and Jeremy probably has that documentation in the
Yeah,
budget,
Holland,
so.
yeah.
I haven't moved in.
Yeah, I don't.
Cause I know the new budget year thing is new.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Jeremy kind of just stepped into it his last year, so.
Yeah.
Cause now we approve the budget in June, we used to approve the budget in January.
Oh, you got a pen?
Or either.
I could throw it, I could start sticking people in the eye with it.
Whose pen do you want?
And yes, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, Nate, I was gonna ask you that, what does the Secretary of State wants this from pretty much all nonprofits or public
It's all
organizations?
nonprofits and businesses.
Fabulous. Thanks.
It's just a list of all the board members associated with that. Okay.
I get emails now, are we?
Okay. I think Tommy just called in. Tommy, do you want to give your report, or do you want to do it, after our conference report?
I can barely hear you. Give me 1 second to turn my volume up. I did hear you say my name though.
Okay. Do you want to give your report now, or do you want to wait till, because I think we did move it down, in case you didn't call in until 1:15, so.
Okay, if everyone's ready, let me just pull up my report and I'll go ahead and give it.
Okay. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Sorry guys, I didn't expect to jump right in. So the local government special interest group, there's been a great amount of interest in that special interest group. That SIG has been well populated. Each of the meetings has been well populated. I, Tommy, as the chair, I'm still learning some of the background parts and pieces, and I'm extremely grateful for Megan and Jeff's help in getting some of that background stuff figured out. And life has kept me pretty busy. I'm running behind schedule on some of that stuff, for which I do apologize. And I still have to post the meeting notes from the last meeting. And is that somebody on your side or on my side? Am I getting a dual broadcast into you guys?
I don't think it's anything here.
Sound good here.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, sorry, I could hear a second meeting, but I'm in 2 meetings at the same time and I just muted the other one. So improvements that I still need to make regarding the LG SIG are faster turnaround on posting meeting notes and agendas, more specific and targeted approach towards improving participation. I really want to make sure that we maintain at least 20 people per meeting. I do plan on setting up a schedule to keep my timeline more on track for the group, as I've been running a little bit behind on where I'd like to be for some of that stuff. The interest and engagement from the different attendees has led to short agendas, with a preference towards more open communication. The current intent is to cycle through the different topics of interest at 2 meeting intervals in order of voted priority. So the next round after this Thursday's meeting will be 911 addressing. There's too much to cover in one meeting, so we decided to kind of split it out into 2 different meetings and also want to cycle through to accommodate all interests. In the meeting this Thursday, the pursuit is to have the local government offices provide a short presentation on what they have done with their local GIS in regards to land records, and then have open discussion. I will be seeking someone to coordinate the next meeting with the topic of addressing how GIS gets it done, as I've got some pressing family medical issues that I'm going to have to deal with. Overall for the group, I've been excited with and continue to inspire a high level of participation at the meetings. I am in pursuit of having 2 entities collaborate towards improving or starting a project together. I am also targeting a minimum attendance of 20 people per meeting for a minimum of 3 consecutive meetings. I do, however, plan on continuing that. Any questions?
Does anyone want to help Tommy out for his next meeting? Or I guess it'd be the February meeting, right?
Correct.
Wanting someone to help coordinate?
Correct.
This is Steve, I'll help you again, but I'm kind of partnering up with you a bit on these.
Ties well into your job too, so that's good.
Hey, Tommy, this is Rob. I got a quick question for you. You kind of caught my attention when you said you have a minimum number of people you'd like to have participate in your meetings. How do you do that?
By keeping the interest level up is my preference, and as well by trying to cycle through the different interests. I'm also trying to buy in some of the interest that people have by encouraging participation. So I intend on cycling around and having the small entities present, having the big entities present, try and have as many different people as possible cycle through the presentations.
Like, are you actively, calling people and saying, hey, we've got a meeting coming up, I need you to participate, things like that? Or is your group large enough and has enough motivation that they just show up?
Right now, there's large enough motivation that people just show up.
Okay. Cool. That's amazing. I was just wondering how you're doing it, and you seem to have a good handle on it.
I'm hoping to improve my handle on it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, and Rob, I think some of it's kind of stemmed through, like, there's just been this missing SIG presence amongst the community for so long, and I think the kind of the motivation and the momentum that Steve and I kind of started last conference, I think that is continuing to carry. So I think as long as the topics are interest, and I think word of mouth really throughout the community, I think is going to keep this going. So I do appreciate your work there, Tommy. I know it's not easy, and we're here to support you from the board as well. So
thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a good meeting too. If you have really good meetings and they're organized and whatnot and keep moving along, I think that helps.
Good. Thank you, Jenny. Anything else?
Yeah.
And Tommy, this is Jason. You're sending out, are you sending out a listserv post or reminders as far as the meeting?
I think he did this morning, so most of us missed it, so.
Okay.
Because obviously, we're in here.
Is that to just all the Magip organization, or is it just the the members that have attended so far?
Currently, it's the Magip organization. The intent is currently it's the Magip listserv and special folks that haven't gotten their registration complete with Magip that I'm trying to encourage to join Magip. And then the intent is within a few months, basically just move it down to a local government special interest group mailing. After it's basically been out there a while, people kind of keep seeing it come across and, will hopefully jump in. But then, I don't want to spam the GIS professionals that aren't local government. I don't want to spam, the industry execs who have enough emails already. So I'm trying to kind of roll a transition, if you will.
Well, they seem really well attended and organized, so thanks a lot, Tommy, for doing that. And and I think the conference is going to be another great opportunity to kind of showcase and share what you've been up to, and then promote it as well.
And then Tommy, I don't know if you can see our screen. I guess this will be the one thing that we'll have to update is the agenda. That's one thing that I try to do before each board meeting. Sometimes I don't get to it till the week of, but I try to do it the week before, is to update this agenda piece. And then this is probably new to most of you. This is, Tommy and I kind of talked through this quite a bit. This is going to be kind of his archive of the meeting material. So I think we'll probably have to talk about that at your next meeting. So people at least know, hey, I missed the meeting. Here's the recording. It just takes you to a YouTube recording of it. So
Cool.
That's kind of like our board meetings do. So.
And I do plan on populating that on a better, more timely fashion as I can. Unfortunately.
Yeah, we understand because of the holidays and stuff. I mean, this month was kind of weird for us board members too. So.
Yeah, and I'm trying to run everything on my personal time for the local government SIG, and have had some significant life conflicts. So that's part of the reason that I need somebody to I'm going to be asking for somebody to work on next month's meeting because I might have some bigger issues. So.
Yeah, and if you want to shoot me the agenda, I can certainly post it later today.
I don't know if he heard you, Steve.
Yeah. So yeah, just feel free to reach out for additional help. So just so you're aware. So.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to email me any questions that you guys have and any thoughts, comments, or suggestions.
Okay. Yeah, I think your meetings are going well. So yeah, looking forward to Thursday's meeting for sure. So. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you all. If there's nothing else, I'm going to jump into the commissioners meeting as they're texting me. So.
All right. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay. So let's just go into our conference planning report. Phoebe, Jason, or Michelle, whoever wants to start.
Sure. Overview. I think we've got a lot of bare bones and outline there. It's just really time to flesh it out. I think we have, and Michelle, I'm not sure I have all the numbers right now, but 8 gold sponsors, 1 silver. Call for presentations are out there.
Do you have the proposed schedule out somewhere? Because I saw it at the meeting, but did you?
Right, we don't have it on the webpage.
Yeah, I know it's not out for the public or not, but I'd kind of like to.
It's in the,
Not that I need this yet. Is it in docs?
There is a document in the Google Drive, Mike. It's, the first 2 days are accurate with the workshops and what we kind of have planned for that. The second 2 days still have last year's information, just as placeholders to show kind of how the concurrent sessions were.
Okay, no, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking for it last time.
Yeah, it's under events and then Big Sky GeoCon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you just go to Missoula, or 2022 Missoula, sorry.
Saw the first one.
Schedule.
Schedule, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Steve, Kyle, Michelle, and some others are gonna have a meeting next week with, Chris Hamilton from Onyx, the keynote speaker, so we'll get some feedback and, advice for his, kind of what we're looking for from his talk. Awards, that's also kind of ad hoc. I've got an awards committee nailed down, so we'll like meet probably preliminary this month, and then as submissions come in, I don't think that we have like any yet, but,
Yeah, I think we probably need to probably send out another reminder, I think, too, and, you know, probably talk it up with the organizations that we work for as well. I think some of us have to think of something that we can, you know, for a nomination, so.
yeah, so at this point, it's probably like just spread the word time and
Yep.
Start getting some numbers in. I think we were gonna talk about maybe a time frame for some of our sponsors at the lunch, when the keynote is giving their address. I know Michelle had mentioned, like, I think within the sponsors.
One of their benefits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of figuring out what time frame we're giving.
So we have 8 gold, isn't that pretty good? That, to me, sounds pretty good at this
At
time.
this time? Oh, yeah, we talked about this at the planning meeting, too.
Yeah, that's what-
That's really good for this time.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think we had like 6 gold and 1 silver.
Apologies.
No, still, that still sounds pretty good, though, for
Yeah.
Oh, and the
time.
fact that Esri committed, more than a week before the conference is,
Right.
that's gold in my mind.
Yeah.
Gold for a gold.
There you go.
And then, I know Jason, maybe you'll bring this up too, but wanting to talk about maybe the, like, COVID protocols or what stance we'll have at.
Yeah. Michelle, I did have one question. Do you know what guidelines, the Holiday Inn is implementing?
Yeah, they are just, they're, of course, masks are not required, but they're recommended. And I think the Holiday Inn highly recommends that you wear them, but they can't enforce it or it's not required. So it's up to you as an organization or association, whether you want to require it for your conference attendees or not.
Yeah, yeah, I'm actually surprised that the Holiday Inn doesn't have a mask mandate. I don't know if some of you saw the Esri stuff. I think they're even requiring attendees to be vaccinated. So I thought that was interesting for the UC.
I think that's a California.
Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah,
so
I think in
mean,
Montana.
we're definitely not gonna go to that level, but, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think in Montana now, I don't think the Holiday Inn can mandate it. They can just recommend it, but you, as an association or organization, you could make that a conference policy if you want to. If you want to make masks required, then that's up to you to do that. You can either make them highly recommended or required for your attendees.
I'm almost in the camp for highly recommended. This is a hard, it's a hard road to go down, either way you choose.
Well, who's gonna enforce?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hard part, is like, you know, mask mandate,
Yeah,
are you gonna start
exactly,
taking people out? I mean, that's what Esri's doing, but they obviously have the power to do that, you know?
I mean, as long as we get it out there and say, look, we highly recommend
Yeah.
that you do this. You know, we're not gonna tell you to do it, but we really highly recommend you doing it.
Yeah,
I think that'll cover our bases.
I do too, you know? I really don't wanna get into, you know, people's rights and going down that, you know, the Constitution and getting into that sort of stuff, you know? But
And then the Holiday Inn. Oh, and then they, you know, we did link to their safety protocols and their COVID, you know, they keep that updated. So that link is out there on the webpage. So, you know, what safety protocols they have and COVID precautions put in place. So attendees can look at that.
Michelle, do you know if we have it on this conference page? I don't see it.
I don't know if it's on the conference page. I think it went out in the, initial announcement.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to put it over here. Yeah, there's hotel
Yeah.
information over here. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to add it over here.
Yeah, I'll ask Megan to add that. That's a good idea.
Speaking of the hotel, since it's on my mind at the moment, during the last meeting we had, did you still want Jeff, me, to talk to the Holiday Inn about attendance?
Yeah,
We still
and
need
I'm
to
just,
talk to them?
yeah, I was waiting. I told them we wanted to schedule a meeting with them, and I was waiting back for confirmation on a day and time that works for them. And the gal I was communicating with was out of the office, so I'll follow up with her.
But you still want to have that conversation with them?
I think so, just because like right now, I just got a room pickup, I think this morning or yesterday, and we have 24 rooms reserved so far. Out of our commitment of like 180. And so I just think I think it would be helpful if you guys can just explain to them like your industry and your, our demographic, and that a lot of people will wait till later to book their room. I just want them to know that we are doing our due diligence to get people to the conference and to get them and to get people to book their room at the Holiday Inn. So I think if we go in as a united front and you guys go in as an organization and explain that to them, that would be helpful.
People tend to wait to.
Yep.
Until after they see the agenda and.
Yeah, the agenda big time, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And even the workshops,
Yep.
people don't know what the workshops are yet, so.
Yeah, and I think it would just be helpful if you explain that, because I can explain that to them, and I just want to make sure they know I'm not just making that up.
Not swearing at them yet?
Not yet.
I also have one more plug. We're still looking for track chairs for government, GIS and health, and potentially either asset management or AES engineering design. So if you all have people in mind that you think would be good fits or if you're interested.
I can help with the government.
Okay.
You should ask Michael Kruger, obviously, since he's not
He's
here.
utilities.
Oh, is he doing utilities? Okay, because one of those was his idea, so,
Yeah.
especially since he's not here, let's just volunteer him for everything.
Phoebe, what's the government track?
What's that?
What's the government track?
What's the government? What's involved in that?
Local, state, federal, track chairs. Are you asking like what's the role of the track chair?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I have a sense of what a track chair does, but I just wondered like what, is it federal government or all government, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
All government sounds like.
Rob, it could be a ton of things. As
Okay,
far as, that could be a whole bunch of stuff, as long as you're local, federal, or, state. How are you using GIS to do your job? That could cover a whole range of things.
okay.
Parcels or, we're gonna
I'd be happy to
do
be a-
NG 911 a lot in, the emergency services track, but,
If you
yeah,
need help in that, if you need help with that, I'd be happy to volunteer.
And maybe Steve and Rob, do you kind of want to tag team that one?
Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, it usually is our biggest track, so it probably wouldn't hurt to have two people covering that base.
What do the track chairs do?
Most of it's like, kind of soliciting reaching out to people, so Steve knows people in his organization that are interested in coming to the conference, just trying to wrangle them. And then obviously moderating at the conference is probably the big piece of it, moderating the sessions.
Finding people to speak on the
For
track?
that, yeah.
Oh, presentation.
Yeah, so yeah, inviting folks that you think, or especially like if you know of organizations that are already in Missoula. Just because we do allow for folks to just come to present and not have to be registered, so we kind of do have that flexibility as well. We've had a lot of talks, do it that way, presenters over the years. And it's always nice to have the flexibility too, and you hear from other agencies, their updates and their workflows and all that. So.
We also have a write-up of the role of the track chair, on the drive. That's helpful.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This
And
might be something we could put a plug in at Tommy's meeting on Thursday,
Oh, yeah.
presentations and track chairs.
And Phoebe, I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
Helen Harris's email, and she said she would be happy to chair either the AEC engineering design, asset management, or the remote sensing.
Yeah, I think that she could do either asset or AES, that'd be good. I'll get back to her and let Kyle know too.
we'll probably
Okay.
end up consolidating some of those. I could see, utilities, asset management, and, that design one just being one track. We'll see how many submissions we get. It sounded like Helen was gonna rope some of her colleagues into doing it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that pretty much covers it for Phoebe's base. Michelle, did you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I'll send out a just kind of a key dates to remember reminder, and I'll include the call for proposal presentations because we only have 2 so far, and the call for nominations, and then a reminder of that room block deadline for the Holiday Inn. And then I'll also, I think Jeff, you and I talked about that, just kind of put a schedule at a glance or schedule overview together so that we can post that out on the webpage so that people can just at least see the format that we're offering.
Yeah, kind of similar to the 2021, this
Yeah.
little thing right here, this
Yeah.
summary agenda. Okay.
When are we gonna get detailed stuff out? Like we were saying, that's more what people are waiting for.
I think
I know-
we're shooting for February. I mean,
February?
I think the last couple things that we're working on is obviously the workshops.
All right, no, that's fine, February,
And we're-
so something like that.
Well, that's good transition. I mean, Jason,
Yeah,
go ahead and take it away.
yeah. You can go for it.
No,
I'm just
no, take
kidding.
it away. This kind of
I'm
transitions into your
just
update.
Yeah, even the schedule, at a glance, we could probably even add the workshops in there and just giving folks a heads up that these are the workshops planned.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, if we could do that, I think that'd be a great idea.
well, I mean, we kind of do know. I think once we get a few more descriptions of it, it'd be nice. But like, I think like right here, like this is the 2021, like the full list of workshops. I think we could start populating these, I think, because I think we pretty much know.
I think we should. I think
But you
that-
just wouldn't be able to like maybe add all the links. So,
Yep.
so, I mean, maybe Michelle, I mean, we can talk about this later, but we probably should start putting together, well, probably that's more Megan's role, right? Does she have a workshop page set up yet?
I'm not sure, but I was just gonna say maybe Jason and I could coordinate with her on getting the workshop this populated. We can work with Megan to get
Okay, I
that
think she was
populated.
planning, yeah, I think she was planning to create a page. I don't know if she's done
Yeah,
it yet.
because I think
but
if we get this sort of matrix set up,
Perfect. That's all we
names,
need. Yeah.
and then as we're getting people, as we're getting abstracts, we can start putting these
Yeah.
these in.
But I think just giving
detail.
folks a heads up as to what
Yeah,
the
at least the
anticipated
template, yep.
prices are and stuff, and then, so, I think we're waiting until we confirm the workshops as far as like getting the abstracts back and stuff like that, but I think this will be a great start. But opening, we wanna get, especially the abstract of and cost for the workshops before we open it to, for registration, so. Yeah, we're kind of in that transition period right now. So we sent an email out last week to all the workshop instructors, asking for their bios as well as all sorts of other different questions, if there's limits in their classes, if there's special software that's required, et cetera. And we received one back so far, and stuff. But in the email, we just noted that, hey, we're trying to get this, confirmed by the end of this week, essentially. So we kind of set a timeline. Hopefully, folks will respond and stuff. So census reached out to us last week inquiring if there's still space. Early discussions in the workshop committee, we pretty much, just determined that, we wouldn't reach out to Census just for different reasons. We had a lot of interest for other workshops. Well, they reached out to us, coordinated with Michelle, and Michelle, noted that we do have a couple extra rooms, so we added another room. We have the 4 ballrooms for workshops, as well as an additional room. They're planning on two workshops, and then we reached out to John Hoagland as well, because historically he's mentioned that he would have an interest in adding another workshop. So Census is planning a American Community Survey and new 2020 Statistical Geography workshop. And then they're also offering a processing the 2020 census data.
Do you know if there's gonna be a fee associated with that?
We historically have charged $35
Okay.
for each, regardless of if they're a member or not.
Okay.
So I just, we'll
Yeah.
stick with that.
Yeah.
So now we have five rooms, and it's pretty much full with the exception of, depending on John replies and adds his class. So his class, or his workshop he just mentioned early on in December that he'd be willing to host a complex spatial machine learning analysis workshop. So, cool.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, I talked with John the other day, actually, and I think he is planning on submitting another workshop, so he will be in touch with you.
Okay, great, yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Oh, yeah, okay, so here's our list of workshops. We've been collaborating with,
That's the fifth room right there, right? Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so with the exception of Census and Eric Pempler, all the workshops will have a standard rate.
These ones we're kind of waiting on Ezra here, right?
Yep, those two should be Esri. And so yeah, the standard rate for workshops is gonna be the 8160. So 80 if you're a member and 160 if you're not, and these are half-day workshops. Eric's classes are more expensive, and then Census, of course, is the $35.35.
And this is the one that we were referencing earlier that's gonna go into the afternoon. So it will cut into the council meeting but I don't think the two will conflict at all. So.
The only other thing was, just reconfirmed with Fernanda at Imagination. They're planning to host us on Monday night for the meetup. And then, she's planning the keynote, the following day. So the 4:45-ish to 5:45. And that is gonna be more focused probably on, community involvement and, probably more inspiring talk, versus anything GIS related, but, that should be a great kickoff to the conference.
Hey, Jason, can you ask Fernanda for a photo and a short bio that we could put out on the web page too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Good reminder.
Yeah, it'd be good to start featuring some of our
Yes.
keynote and our luncheon speakers. So.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we'll ask the same thing for Onyx as well, so.
Yeah. Yeah, you think about it, it's mid-January now, and there's a core group of people that kind of know what's going on, but most of our community doesn't really have any idea what's planned yet, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's good to get as much out there as we can now.
I can work on some graphics.
Let's see. I think that's about it. Unless anyone has questions on any of these workshops or anything workshop related.
A really good job there, Jason, so appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's a great, I mean, gosh, we've got a wide variety of options for folks, and whether it's intro or, John's more advanced workshop. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Learning, is that the first time that's
Quite certain, yeah.
Yeah, it's good, definitely good, very good variety, so. Yeah, I'm excited, that we expanded upon Eric's workshops, so. Yeah, it should be a good group, I think, and hopefully the attendance turns out too.
I should add, as far as what we emailed the instructors, just for a general overview, besides the abstract and bios, we asked them about, if they require a limit to some of their content, if the format's going to be lecture style or hands-on, because sometimes Esri is more, lecture style versus the hands-on. Hardware, software requirements, some might require, certain software to be downloaded prior to the workshop, like SQL Express or something, maybe for Christian's SQL class.
Yep.
Or, let's see, any additional instructions as far as like, making sure you have things downloaded or...
Yeah, I think it's especially important in Christian's class, because,
you don't want to go through an hour just downloading software.
And I want to say, we didn't necessarily do that, but we just had so many different, we had advanced and beginner level, so there's just, we had a lot of people ahead in that workshop, but then there was still kind of like most of the time was still kind of went into some of just the basics, and Christian, if he had time, I'd love to see 2 different workshops from him, but I realize the time is still an issue, obviously, because most of our instructors are volunteers. But when you start getting into the SQL databases, you're going to have a very, I saw this last year when I attended, very diverse attendees, and especially if you're more advanced, you're not going to get nearly enough out of it. Maybe just the advanced ones just stay out of that entirely. It's more towards the beginner and intermediate focus. So maybe we probably should ask Christian to maybe tailor his abstract to the audience, or what to expect, or like the type of content that he's offering. If it's going to be more intermediate to advanced, great.
Yeah, I can kind of help monitor that as well, and just, if he doesn't have that information in there, we can just ask him, hey, what do you, is this more novice, intermediate, just to give folks a heads up.
Because now that these are in person, last year's was virtual, I could see him just bouncing around the room, just getting those beginning people just up to speed, which, maybe they should have known that going in,
Yeah.
But it's hard though, for the SQL databases, so.
Yeah.
Well, Python automation too, getting everybody set up in the right environment, and or something having that. I need a Python 3, all that preliminary for total beginners, it's like,
what do I do?
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully John is willing to, is this the afternoon one? Yeah, hopefully he's willing to dedicate part of his lunch to just setting folks up there. I have a configuration question with my modules, so.
Well, like a beginner's, like a preliminary.
A debriefing, yeah.
You never did this before, go through my thing here, so, and they have questions, just email me about that, or whatever.
I think he did have something about that last year, where I think he kind of did have like a course overview. I think he had some YouTube videos, and so it's like, as long as you've watched some of that pre-stuff.
Yeah, stuff already made,
Yeah. Because, he utilizes those like Google Classroom, so he has all of his materials well outlined. I mean, John has, I mean, I learned so much in his workshop last year. He's a great instructor.
Yeah, again, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hoping Dan would join us, but I don't see him yet.
Yeah, for Phil here, I was wondering if you wanted to mention that cadastral meeting at all, coming up next week?
Oh, yeah, so some of you may have seen the listserv posting. I did kind of create like a cadastral technical working group. If any of you are interested in attending, and I guess for the recording of this, we are gonna have quarterly meetings, and I am gonna bring up that we may potentially meet at the conference, so that might be our April meeting. So, it's more focused, and it's good that Mike brought it up, because obviously they maintain their own cadastral. So it is kind of focused more towards the agencies that use cadastral, but not necessarily to just tailor towards the ones that maintain. Obviously the use of cadastral, and I mean, I guess the reason why I created it, it's more of just kind of a sounding board for the users and the maintainers of cadastral, like what's working, what's not, what do we need to expand upon, that sort of thing. You know, we want to go into potentially setting up an assessment plan it's very complex to try to analyze the accuracy or the completeness of cadastral. I mean, I think from, you know, a national perspective, I think Montana is probably one of the best cadastrals. I mean, I think we were recognized in the 90s for having, you know, the first true statewide cadastral in the entire nation. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we stop there and start patting each other on the backs and never move forward with that. So, and then we also potentially have the funding, or potential to use some of the EMLIA funding, the leftover from the grant program. So that's going to be part of the assessment, is probably recommendations to use that towards the priorities that we're going to set up with, you know, the CAD and SDI adjustment priorities. And I think that's very complex too, because the reliability points are so hard. I don't know, some of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but the reliabilities on these PLSS points, it's a hard struggle, and especially in Park County. They aren't even really being updated, and so I think for my role at the state, we're going to go through with BLM is how to update these a little bit better. And then actually, once we step into the ArcGIS Pro, they have this least squared adjustment. It's actually going to update those numbers as we're doing adjustments, but it's only going to affect current adjustments from our ArcGIS Pro migration forward. It's not going to have all the, you know, the Livingston updates, and I think even Yellowstone County did a bunch of updates for their PLSS. So, yeah. So yeah, feel free to attend. I think Aaron, I think you're planning on it, and obviously with Mike. So, anyone else on the call or listen to this recording certainly could join as well. So.
We're getting some PLSS survey points. Points resurvey.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another angle too. Like our relationships with land surveyors, I think could use some improvement as well. So there's from that standpoint, I think a lot of these PLSS corners have been surveyed, but you know the state obviously doesn't get attributed to our priority to have that information as part of their collection of databases. So. Something we'll be talking about for sure in that working group meeting, so. Ann was gonna sign on, but wait for Aaron Fashway now. I kind of have these last two reports kind of scheduled out just to make it a little easier on their schedules. So, yeah, actually I had a nice conversation with Dan Staley on Friday over the phone. He's not really necessarily completely associated with Marls, but he was the president for several terms. So that's why I was hoping to have his input with our meeting, but we certainly can wait for another meeting as well, so.
And he's doing some really, they do some cool GIS stuff there.
Yeah, yeah, and then, honestly, I think they're more open to collaborate too, especially with me at the state. If he can get a lot of his memberships on board with some of the same principles that the state is trying to align, it's kind of like what we want to talk about with MLAX, just aligning the stars, aligning our goals and perspectives on things. So. No. Did you see something flash?
Well, I just see the team, or no,
Yeah, it's just a message on my end, so.
Yes, that's a reminder. I spoke with Dan a long time ago, well, for the 2018 conference, and I remember a conversation, he was essentially kind of inquiring about, like, us offering some sort of an incentive for he and his engineers to attend our conference.
Okay.
Like, hey, we might be interested in attending, but essentially just reviewing, just the processes for signing up. Like, can we just come and, can Magip offer a discount for just coming and like presenting something to you guys versus like paying for the entire day?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think some people, we don't actually charge especially if it's a track and the track chair does wrangle. For an example, Kurt Sweats, that's with TD&H Engineering, I roped him into doing a presentation when we had the conference in Great Falls. He did one on like ground to grid conversion, and it really had like a good GIS perspective. But obviously he kind of presented from a land surveyor's angle.
Yeah.
And how the importance does kind of tie into plats on the ground, and obviously those that maintain parcels, what I'm talking about, there is kind of a ground to grid conversion that does occur from a 2D versus a real world perspective. So. Oh yeah, we sorry about that, Rob. You can go into your scholarship update. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we're waiting to do that later or not. But,
yeah, sorry about that. I was going to do that right after the conference planning report. So yeah, we are kind of waiting for Aaron Fashway to join the meeting. So.
Okay, well, I think I can be fairly quick here. So I actually spent some time with the financial aid office at U of M last week. I was getting emails from students saying that they were not getting the scholarship funds. And we tracked that down to a problem, not a problem, but the number of credits that the students were taking. So one of the students we awarded a scholarship to, they graduated in the fall. And now they're working as a postdoctoral researcher at the university. So they weren't taking any credits. So they didn't get the second half of the scholarship funds. Another student was not taking was also not taking enough credits. So, I met with the scholarship coordinator over there, and we got it worked out. Those funds are going to be distributed. But it got me to thinking that, we really don't ask what the student status is and what their plan is for the fall and spring semesters. Two reasons for that is, one reason is that the funds won't be distributed if they're not taking the minimum number of credits in a semester. So we could override that at any time. But I think so I added that to the announcement. A part of what I'm asking for in the application is some indication of the number of credits you're going to take in each of the semesters. That could help us plan on how the money is distributed, and also just get a better sense of like what the lifespan of this student is going to be for the remainder of the time. So, like I said, I've incorporated that into the announcements, and the announcements lead you to a Google form where you fill out some questions and then submit your project proposal and letter of reference. So it's a nicely automated system that we've created, and we've got it updated for this year. The dates. So I am going to submit, put these out there this week, and they'll be due on the 25th of March. And then we'll announce the awardees on the 4th of April, or at least we'll be ready to. And I guess that's what I wanted is that in line with what we're looking to do? Are we wanting, I think if we do have that Tuesday session and, I give a report, I could announce the scholarship and grant awardees at that time. So my question to you is April 4th the date where we would like these things to be completed by? So that we can use that in the conference, or, that's kind of how we've done it recently. Is that okay with you? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's about it. Yeah, the thing about the credits has kind of come to the surface. And what I'm going to do also when we give our award letter, I'm going to include a link to the university's policies for distributing that money, just so that there aren't these lingering questions. So that's it. Questions? Comments?
Any scholarship stuff?
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
the process over the last couple of years there, Rob, has really been refined. So definitely a lot more automation on your end. So probably makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, it helps just to put things in the right boxes and keep track of it all. So, and I think we've made the process a little bit easier for the students as well. So I think it's pretty good. All right, well, hearing no questions or objections, I'll carry on.
Okay. Now that Aaron's with us, Aaron Fashway, do you have something to give us an update on there, Aaron? Can you hear us there, Aaron?
Yeah, sorry, I was finding the mute button and closing things.
No worries.
Hello, everyone. So I was asked to give an land information report to the board today. So I'm just going to stick to the pretty high level basics. We opened up the grant program, the annual Land Information Act grant program last, I do believe was Thursday. Because the required date for us to have those published is the 15th. And since the 15th fell on a Saturday, we did it early. And so the basic priorities of the land information plan for the grants program themselves align with the priorities of the council and the GIS coordinator and GIS coordination in general, and then also align with the individual theme priorities. And so we've prioritized what we feel as the state library with the cooperation of all the theme leads, and then of course advisement under the council. We've basically have not really changed the priorities from for grants from this year to the previous year, or from the previous year to this year. The only one that we really kind of wanted to make more official was elections, which is the elections data one, and that would be under a tier 1 priority. And basically, we're seeing the need and the demand for GIS and elections. It's kind of a hot topic nationwide, and we're starting to work on that with our counterparts. And partner with other states in kind of seeing what they're doing, and then also partnering with the Secretary of State's office, and then local government to collect that information. That initiative is very closely similar to the Next Gen 911 initiative that we're working on as well, being that you need addresses and boundaries and streets more so for addressing, or for Next Gen than for the elections piece, but those are, they go hand in hand, and we're seeing the need for better addressing on the election side of things kind of push the Next Gen 911 updates on our side as well. So it's a pretty exciting time right now to be a part of these two initiatives with spatial data collection statewide for the state of Montana. And so I would anticipate that those are probably the two priorities that will see the most amount of requests for funding for come out of the grant program this year. The grant program is required to stay open for until February 15th, so it's roughly 30 days. And then there's this 2-week time period for any grant recipient that has submitted a grant to basically, we check for completeness, or if some document is missing, they've got 2 weeks and to submit that. That closes on March 1st. So we really won't know our accurate count of how many grant proposals we have until February 15th, and then we'll finalize those on March 1st, where we'll start the scoring process. We plan on hosting the council meeting to be at the next Big Sky GeoCon in Missoula, and that is when the council will take action on the prioritization of those of that grant funding. So we always invite everyone to attend these meetings, and that's usually the time when we see the most amount of attendees, since we have so many GIS professionals in one location. So we will continue to use that model in scheduling our future meetings, especially around the grants prioritization timeline. And so that's it about the grant program right now. Are there any questions about the release? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I've got 2 training opportunities coming up. One is, I do believe it's a week from today. Let me double check. Yep, it's the actual application tool training on the Amplifund, and that has been sent out to the Magip listserv, and then some of our other constituents. And then also on the 28th, we've been able to secure some time with Janet Cornish, who we have hired to teach grant writing workshops in the past, and she'll be doing a abbreviated version of the grant writing seminar that we've hosted in years past on Friday the 28th in the morning. And highly recommend anyone that's interested in applying for a grant or learning about grant writing in general. It's open. We really don't, as far as I know, don't have a limit on that. So I encourage folks to attend. It will be basics about writing grant proposals, and then writing for clarity. But also we will be answering specific questions about the grant program themselves, the different sections, and it'll be a co-taught class between Janet Cornish, John Kilgauer, who's our grants contracts administrator here, and then myself. So both of those trainings will be recorded and posted to our website afterwards. We are looking and exploring with Janet a possible grant management class. So for those that have been awarded a grant through MLIA, either requiring or asking those grant recipients to attend that training, which will probably be sometime in the late spring to summer timeframe. So pretty excited about those training opportunities. And then, so I guess I'll pause there if anybody has any questions about the MLA grant program that we just opened.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron, for that update on the grants. I think we're good with questions, but yeah, all great things, especially the training opportunities. I think that's really good for the makeup community as well.
Yep, and then the other thing I wanted to mention is the strategic planning process. So I'm sure most of you have seen the emails come out and have attended workshops or interviews that we hosted last summer. And we just were delivered the final draft product, and our review team will be reviewing that. Once we finalize it, we'll release it to the greater community and to the council. We'll ask for the council's endorsement and then our commission's approval. And that, unfortunately, those do not align with our current meeting schedule. So it'll probably be a special meeting that, of course, we will publicly announce and give everyone the opportunity, if they want to give feedback, to attend. But I think it took a while to get there. I've never been through this this type of strategic planning process in the past, and really want to thank the board and, of course, all the members of the community that did participate. I think we learned a lot about the needs of the community, and it really helped us prioritize what we needed to work on in order to meet those needs, and then just to meet our legislative mandates. So I'm pretty excited about it. One of the goals that we will probably start work on immediately is improved communication with our stakeholders. And I'm really excited about that one. The next step would be us creating a business plan. We're still going to be using AppGeo, which is our hired consultant, and they'll be writing that business plan with us. And I would probably assume that at some point we'll reach out to the board to participate, or at least throw ideas by you guys when it comes to how we can collaborate with Magip in order to make sure that our communication is getting to our stakeholders in our community. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm not going to give away too much of the document yet because we're still reviewing it, but just wanted to keep you updated on that. And again, thank everyone that did participate in that process. It took a while, but I think we've got a pretty good product moving forward. And the timeline of this strategic plan will basically give us priorities for the next 5 years. And we will work with the council to try to understand how we're going to, when we're going to start it, get the advice from the council, and then also how we will align the land plan to the strategic plan. So the representative on the council is Lee Mackholtz. So she has been the council representative that's been a part of this process since day one. So any questions there?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that, even Magip, we struggle with too, is, improving, how do we improve our communication with our stakeholders too? And, while the Apricot has some metrics of every email that we send out, and, our click rates are not good, and how do we improve upon that? How do we disseminate the information where we're reaching more people? So I think that's obviously a common thing, and obviously I think even Magip, we can even improve upon that too. So So that's why we've kind of been talking about, implementing some sort of communication specialist within and on the board. So we're going to be talking about that in the next couple of years. So.
Yeah, I would say that, that's probably a common issue that a lot of organizations have. I think especially in the ways that communication has changed so drastically, even over the past 10 years, a lot of folks like examining like which social media outlet to use. Those change so quickly too, depending upon your audience and, the generation you might be trying to meet or to reach. And we're also going through the process of just a greater look at the Montana State Library for rebranding, and we'll get some direction out of that initiative, and I think they'll align closely together. But that's another kind of deep dive that we're going into with a firm that has a lot of experience with marketing and branding the state of Montana. So I'm sure that process will inform how we're going to communicate. But it goes beyond just the emails. We started to use Gov Delivery, so I guess this conversation kind of aligns with that. So it's Gov Delivery is a tool for notifying our different groups, but it's also a tool where we can sign people up for it, and then people can self-subscribe. And so what we've done is we've identified our major categories and broken that down into different sections, and we're gonna probably ask Magip's help to help get people signed up for it, and we would suggest that you as GIS professionals sign up for it as well, because we'll be doing more targeted communication to different groups. Like one example of a group is we always wanted to have a way to a very targeted group would be not all application developers are Magip members, and so they're not even GIS professionals. And so we wanted to get so we have a specific group for application development when folks are using our data services or other applications that we can communicate with. Let's say cadastral, we've been having some technical issues with our cloud environment, or not the environment itself, some of the web services. So we are able to communicate directly to certain groups, and depending upon the message we're trying to get across. So I think it's a more effective way of communicating. It's a very cool tool as well. So we're pretty excited to see or to start using that. And we're still, it was just basically turned on for us at the State Library, and we're trying to understand all its uses and then how we will use it as an organization. But it's another, I'm sure you started seeing some of the emails we put out. We're likely to continue to use that as our major tool for communication moving forward. So, and probably have some tests we asked you to run against the listserv, because we're curious to try some and test out some different things.
Yeah, we're happy to help where we can with that, and I think a platform like that was probably much needed. I like it because it gives you different topics to subscribe to, and then you only receive notifications based upon what you're interested in. So, and it does go beyond GIS. Expands into fish, wildlife, and parks, and DNRC, and all forms of government. So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I've been signed up for the FWPs, like I think parks, and then some other ones that I was interested in, just me as a citizen of Montana. And so some of the state agencies have started using it more. And so I would highly recommend it. That's also how we've been delivering as the state of Montana our daily COVID updates. And that's basically, I think, a lot of decision makers, policymakers, and press. They use that but I think that's the most I've ever, I think I've seen it used recently. That, and I think DNRC also does a lot on hunting. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with those too, if you're an outdoors person in Montana. But highly recommend it. It is I think it's an adopted technology that's becoming standardized through all state government. I think that there might be some local governments that are using it, but I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah, it's a great tool.
Gov delivery. Yep.
Eric, I'm looking for the sign up link right now.
I don't have a sign up.
I know. I can't find it.
What are we looking for?
The link you can sign up for Gov delivery. When I log in, it just takes me to my admin page. Let me see if I can find it. It really is a great tool.
Yeah, if you can find it, you can put it in the chat there.
Yeah,
Aaron.
I will. It's probably associated with, and then it's really great for actually crafting non-boring email messages. I don't know what the best way to say that is, but so you can really, I mean, it's quite pleasing, and you can do a lot of different types of design with it. So let me find it.
That's one thing that's always been the restriction on the Magip listserv is the
format, like
the formatting of things. And
well, I don't think I'd ever, the good old listserv is still a very good tool to use. But for formal communication, that could be something of like the back and forth that all members are able to utilize in a listserv. But pushing out formal announcements, I think it's pretty great.
Keep circling back to that every single topic we have. So
We just automated them out of a job.
Yeah, I guess that's the importance of having that in the future. So, all right, I appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron. Did anyone else have any questions about anything in general for land information?
Yeah, the GIS or that Emily management workshop.
The grant management workshop?
Yeah, the grant management workshop. Is that for specifically Emily grants, right?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
The grant coordination, or I mean, what is it called?
The grant coordination training that you're going to be offering. He was wondering if it was just Emily grant specific, or if it does touch, or if it is more of, could it be applied to a broader perspective?
Yeah, I guess to reiterate what I said, yeah, it's definitely going to be co-taught by John Kilgauer, Janet Cornish, and myself. But I would encourage, if you're just interested in grant writing in general, I would definitely encourage you to attend, but it will be based on, I guess the one grant we will be using is the MLIA grant, but I assure you that even if you're not writing an MLIA grant and you're just interested in grant writing in general, that this will be applicable. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, I was just curious because, this is Aaron Vaughn, by the way.
Oh, hi, Aaron.
Hi. Because we got that grant application approved, and obviously it needs to be signed, and I was thinking about maybe attending that so I can better follow up with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I think that Janet is a wonderful teacher. She is very well informed. She teaches down at Montana Tech in Butte. She's taught for years. She's very familiar with grant writing in general, and familiar with the MLA grant program. So yeah, I mean, it's open to anyone. You don't have to, have a project in mind. Maybe next year you might do another project. So we encourage everyone to attend.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
I think we're good. Appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron.
No problem. Thanks
Okay,
for
does
having me.
anyone else have? Yeah, that was a very good recap, so thank you. Does anyone else have anything else before we transition into the work session? Okay, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion that.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, passed unanimously, so. Unanimously. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps it up. How do I?
Dan gonna?
Well, yeah, Dan's, I mean, I technically have his update, but I think we'll just save that for another meeting, and, he did say he had another meeting at 1 o'clock, and it was probably dependent, he was gonna try to dip out of it if he could, so.
I think it's right there.